once it was reluctantly aroused. It was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused.
Captain's log.
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
Q-snatch. It's a malware called Q-snatch.
Good old boy syndrome is what I call it.
What? What?
Q-snatch.
What? Wow.
Captain's log.
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
Will do. And scene. Hi, how are you? Look at us all live and stuff. And I think everything's even working like all at once. What a nutty concept. Hi everybody, welcome. Happy, is it a Tuesday? It is a Tuesday. Couple of things. One, we are going to have a re-airing of the of 12th Night quite soon. They're going to give me the actual date sometime soon, but I'm guessing it's probably either this Friday or the following Friday. Fingers crossed. I don't know why they're dragging their feet on nailing it down, but I'm pretty sure that's going to happen on that time scale. So just letting you know. Thank you very much for the cheers and everybody. Thank you, Hype Train, everybody. So I'm going to try and figure out. So yesterday I had on my regular, pile of screens to try and watch and make sure stuff is operating appropriately within the confines of the many different channels that I go out to at any given time. And it's a crazy undertaking. I'm a maniac. Nobody has to do this. I had a conversation with WCPT today about how all their shows every day need to be going out on 4 different channels like I am. And I can't help it. I just feel like people, when I start doing that, just glaze over and start going like crickets in their head. And yet, can you think of a better way to protect yourself in this in this ever-changing digital arena than to go out on multiple sources like I do and make sure that you're and by the way, there is formerly known as Craig. Thank you for becoming a jalapeno. We've got new members. Thank you, Aggie. Good to see you again in there as well. Oh my gosh, beautiful. And so anyways, as I've been, running out on all these channels and trying to get my stuff back up and running and everything in the little Pachinko machine and the little ticker tape, which I'm going to change the font on. I'm not 100% sold on. It looks a little chintzy to me. I wish I could put a drop shadow on it and make it, don't get me started. It should be silver with a kind of a gradient on it. Just saying. Am I getting too Libra for this? I have seen, you have to understand, I watch other live streams and stuff to just trying to like a little bit of, I would straight up call it industrial espionage, frankly. And as I'm watching these things, I'm recognizing just like how crappy things look and everybody's okay with that. And maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's not that it looks crappy, it's that that's actually what YouTube's supposed to look like. And I'm a maniac who adds all these bells and whistles. Oh, Kelly, bon vivant, merci beaucoup et de rien. Thank you very much, lovely. I'm sorry, Bicycle Mike, you had a bad day. Welcome. I'm glad you're here with us as well. I don't know what happened, but this too shall pass, my friend. Yeah, so over the course of this, I'm just trying to, bit by bit, make it a little more fun, change it up regularly, trying not to bore the crap out of you with the same kind of graphics each time. And yeah. You know how many backgrounds I've made just rando and gone, nah. I got all the way through it. Just went through the whole process and just went, screw it. Nah, it's terrible. Let me show you one thing. Let me see an example of a political, I'll have to dig back into it. Like an alternate political channel as far as what they look. I mean, we've all seen the gene decoded stuff and the QAnons and stuff, and they get hundreds of thousands of follows and all that nonsense. But there is a tremendous amount of just rando garbage on the interwebs, and okay, I'm not gonna. It's gonna make me nuts. I'm just gonna try to look. Hold on. So
we hit
hold on. Okay, so I'm not gonna show you all this. You guys know our good friend Be Hizzy, right? George. Thank you, Maxwell, for the super chats. Thank you guys for your support. The show happens because of you. I don't have any advertisers. It's a lot of pressure, but there you go. And so welcome and thank you. Both super chats, stars on Facebook. Twitter hasn't fixed their thing yet, and yet it's going to be Twitter Blue soon, which it sounds like something somebody says after they left Twitter about Twitter. So we're not, yeah. So this video, for example, this is called "Deleted Files Recovered from Arizona Audit." I'm not going to do this whole show because it's not important. Because I've seen 20 videos. At least about the deleting of files from what was given to the auditors at the Arizona Maricopa County audit. Let me explain something to you. The files taken off the servers that were given to these idiots were all the voter registration information, stuff they have no right to see. The kind of stuff that leads to violent, psychotic mobs saying this whole neighborhood voted Democratic, let's burn their houses down. There's a reason why we vote in private, not just so people pick on us when we're coming and going from the voting place, but so they don't pay us a visit in the middle of the night. And in Maricopa County in particular, they took these files, the voter registration files off the server because the people doing the audit have no right to see who you voted for. And so this whole, like, the way they're putting it is, and the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors and all those folks, they have the files. They just took it off that server that they were given to the auditors because they don't have the right to see it. So one of them was on television going, nothing was deleted. I'm looking at the file right now because Trump put out a statement saying they've deleted the voter files which is against the law. It's not. It's against the law to give these assholes your voter information if you live in Maricopa County. Your address, your party affiliation, your registration, all that stuff, when you register, all the details about it. They have no right to know that. But look at the wording of this phrase. Deleted files recovered for the Arizona audit. First of all, they were not recovered. They always existed. They were not for the audit. That's not their business. The audit does not allow you to know what voter voted for whom. And they weren't deleted ever. They weren't. A deleted file, it was erased from the server, that one that they got, but it was everywhere else. It was everywhere it was legally supposed to be, and therefore it wasn't deleted. It still exists. And we all know in the Giuliani world, when we talk about the variance of, deleting files or emails and all this stuff, it's exactly why Trump doesn't do email, is specifically for this. Oh, congratulations, Joe Carter. You got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine today. Well, take it easy and relax. Let us know if you have any, your little minor side effects or how you're feeling and all that stuff. I live in Arizona, luckily not in Maricopa County. It's one of the fastest growing counties in America. It's the 4th largest or 7th largest or 6th largest or 2nd largest. As an IT dude, this is all insanity. Bob, I feel you like no one else in this chat probably does. And there's probably actually a lot of people who know about this stuff. But holy smokes, the amount of idiocy in the whole, they took it off and it's gone. And we all know, with the exception of single copies never hooked up to the internet, bleach bitted, DOD erased versions of stuff where, and the drive itself was, crushed. It was put down a food disposal like like the hitman's cell phone in the Pelican brief. Yeah. So this is congratulations, delusional mama. All right, husband and son got the second dose of Pfizer at Jones Beach in New York today. Excellent. I've had my second. 2 weeks. They're free to go about their lives. And yeah, 2 OAN on-air personalities are raising funds for the Arizona audit to help cyber ninjas, even though it's already paid for with taxpayer funds. There's secondary stuff. They're trying. Basically, it's just a money grab. They're keeping it. You got the Joe Pag sickness. All right, so well, Bob, you're a skilled member of the task force in here. Clearly, they don't need the info to find bamboo, right? So what I'm saying is like understand the clickbaiting that is happening here. Okay, look at this. The files that were deleted by Maricopa County for the Arizona audit have been recovered and their lies will be discovered. Well, it rhymes. I appreciate that. So they weren't deleted. You have no right to them. No one has that right to. It's crazy. So yeah, there you go. So regardless, these folks are a lot of fun. We love you, George. We're not talking about you today. Let's jump to this because today, oh boy, today guys, this is Don Jr.'s Rumble. Guys, I don't exactly hold back in this one. On this one? In this one? Whatever. Sign in to see 102 comments. I'm sure they're magic. 1471 Rumbles. Serious Rumble business here. 16,000 views. Not so good. I mean, but what do you expect? It's Rumble. But Don Jr. was on, author of Liberal Privilege. Just adorable.
Here with more, author of the bestseller, Liberal Privilege.
Well, bestseller.
Donald Trump Jr. You know, I got to imagine that this should be.
By the way, is he on the other side of Rudy Giuliani's glory hole? Just
be personal for you, not just because it's your father, but they put you through hell for 3 years.
Oh, hell. Guys, he went through hell. He couldn't, he had to make sure there were no Secret Service agents around when he wanted to do blow. It was hell.
And I don't know, but I would imagine that the legal fees for you and your family and your loved ones has to be in the millions. Does anyone care to repay you for that now?
No, nobody gets that. You can always file suit, and if you win, you can sue for your legal expenditures. But then the judge is going to go, actually, there is a case here. Why didn't the DOJ move forward with this? Because my dad was president.
No, that's not how it works, Sean, and they don't care, and that's the reality. So even...
Oh, I care. I just know why. Because you could go... Nothing is stopping this asshole from suing someone for his legal fees. But that would require discovery and the rehashing of whatever trial he's talking about.
Even when all of the stuff is shown to be lies, even when they all went on the record saying this was the gospel and now it's not, there's no accountability, there's no ramifications. I did 30 hours in front of various Senate and House committees where, again, I wasn't there for a real reason. They all knew it was nonsense, but they're hoping that if I go...
Well, anywhere you sit and talk for 30 hours is going to be nonsense.
In there, that maybe I say, you know what, at 12:02, no, it was 12:01, we got you, that's a perjury trap, you get to go to jail. You know, I wouldn't get the Hunter Biden treatment where he can be dealing with...
You did 30 hours. You were not note for note correct on that. You skated because your dad was the president. You were being protected by the Republican Party. There was no off by a minute perjury trap, ever. This isn't live from the only oak-carved jail in America.
With all sorts of shady regimes, pulling in millions and if not billions.
I wrote the guitar part for Hal's intro. Was fun. On which part, Timmy Bimmy Bo Bimmy?
From the Chinese and shady Russian oligarchs tied to the Russian government and getting board seats for jobs he knows nothing about. I wouldn't get that treatment. If I was off by 1 second on a comment, based on a general idea of the time that something happened, that's when they get you and they'd go after you. So you are right, Sean.
No. This asshole got away with everything. There was never a point where he was in jeopardy while his dad was president. The shit's going to hit the fan now.
The media is dead. They've been broken. You see what they did. I mean, CNN could have someone on the payroll for 8 years with tweets praising Hitler. No problem. No big deal. We'll finally get rid of him. Not because it wasn't out there. They just didn't do the diligence. And
what? I'm sorry, are we talking about Tucker Carlson's head writer?
They didn't care. You have other mainstream media out there literally saying, you know what, the Iron Dome in Israel, it saved some people's lives, but it's also kind of part of the problem, Sean. Not that a designated terror organization is sending literally thousands of missiles into Israel and they're defending themselves. That's not the take.
And what the fuck? First of all, I thought they'd solved Middle East peace. I thought the Abraham Accords had been, why aren't these countries that they created the Abraham Accords with rushing to Israel's defense with their $50 billion worth of weapons we sold them? Or gave them. It depends on which one you're talking about. Bahrain or the UAE or what? Qatar? Nothing? Okay.
Because the leftist media, they've been on the Palestinian side of this for a long period of time, and the anti-Semitism...
The anti-Semitism, it's understandable that mispronouncing that runs in the families. Hold on, I'm looking for it. There it is.
Yosemite.
Yeah, it's anti-Yoseminites. That's the way it's pronounced, just for the record.
The anti-Jewish tropes that have been out.
Oh, that's what that means, guys. Semites. It means anti-Jewish. I see.
Out there are absolutely disgusting, and it's not going to stop until more people step up and start calling them out. The hypocrisy, it knows no bounds, Sean.
Does anyone? Was that just like a needle drop on 5 different tracks with no song?
You look at the situation now. We were energy independent 4 months ago.
Right, we're not now. Why? Because of a pipeline hack, or because Keystone Pipeline? Let me guess. Canadian shale oil.
Dad was president for the first time in 75 years.
Bullshit. We were energy independent under Obama.
Joe wants to raise every tax and then tell us.
Wait. What happened? Where did the energy independence go? Joe wants to raise every tax? Every tax for someone making over $400,000. This should show you what kind of tax bracket that Sean Hannity is in, and the kind of exemptions that he uses is the very fact that this guy thinks every tax means the ones he pays as a multi-millionaire who makes millions every year.
Tell us that it's not going to contribute as spending to the deficit, okay? I'm not really looking at his math. You see what's happening at the border. You see what's happening in Israel. You see an unholy alliance. The Russians, the Chinese, they are now providing Iran with weaponry that they're shipping to Yemen for the proxy war and the rest of the Middle East that it's fighting.
That was almost a thought. I understand how you're cramming them all together, but how did that all start? What part did Iran just have nothing to lose but to side with China and Russia after the Iran deal collapsed and they had no way of getting the kind of stuff? So the Iran deal was stopping that up until that dude's dad. Yeah.
I can't think of a single front where things are going good for Joe.
That's because you don't give a shit about COVID deaths, for one. Secondly, the extension of UI nationwide, you've been griping about the fact that it's keeping people from working, but the reality is it's keeping people in a position to get the job back that they had before the pandemic, instead of flipping burgers or something like that, taking the job from somebody else who's flipping burgers for overqualified people. But he doesn't give a shit about that. He's got a house in the Hamptons.
or Joey, depending on how you call him.
They're only going good in the
You call him Mr. President, Sean.
pages of the media, who will be the cheerleaders for anyone on the left, despite an obvious disaster in literally every aspect of our foreign policy and our domestic policy. You're canceling.
So none of what your dad did had any staying power whatsoever. So you're admitting, if everything is collapsing, if everything is taking a total shit, then essentially what you're saying here, Don, is that your dad's entire presidency was a house of cards. That nothing he did had any lasting effect at all. I mean, let's think about what he's saying. His dad has been out of the presidency for a little under 3 months. 6 if you count, from the election on, when he gave up and just started yelling at the furniture. In 3 months' time, everything about his presidency is gone. Just gone. I mean, it's obviously the country isn't falling apart the way, but I'm acting on his premise.
Canceling pipelines, destroying blue.
Canceling pipelines. You mean the Canadian pipelines? Canadian pipelines. You know, the socialist country to our north, supposedly, that one? You mean theirs?
Color jobs that Joe said he wouldn't destroy. Guess what? I wrote about that in Liberal Privilege last summer.
Liberal Privilege is, that was the original title.
I said this was going to happen. It did. The media pretended it wouldn't happen.
What didn't happen? Every Democrat has been talking about shutting down the Keystone Pipeline since it got cleared.
So that they could help him get elected, because they realized that would not be popular with people in middle America. Good, hardworking Americans that need those jobs, that really love the cheap gas prices that they were able to. Now,
the cheap gas prices. You mean when no one could go anywhere because your dad had turned us into the entire country into a petri dish?
We have gas shortages in America. I put out the tweet last week, and Twitter went after me hard because I...
He's still smarting over me taking the piss out of him on Twitter. I gotta say, I spanked you, son.
Said, Joe Biden's not the next FDR. He's the next Jimmy Carter. And Twitter, it started trending. Donald Trump Jr. doesn't understand that Jimmy Carter's a nice guy. I go, no, I understand. What you don't understand is basic history, that you're totally missing stagflation. You're missing the hostage crisis. You're missing...
Yeah, we're this close to having 500 U.S. citizens taken by the Iranians. You watched, right around the corner, probably mid-July, right after the 4th of July, the Iranians are going to take a boat full of American tourists hostage.
Missing a disastrous presidency.
Oh, and there's a part 2. Yipes. There's a lot of this did not hold back. Notice that, by the way, he says that in this one, and then there's this segment about Laura Ingraham. She did not hold back on Liz Cheney. That's the phrase that they've workshopped that they're attaching. You remember how we saw they get a memo about the word woke and all this? This is Sinclair Media on a much smaller scale. Yeah.
Because I said, Joe Biden's not the next FDR. He's the next Jimmy Carter. And
you had to break that up into 2 segments to get it on Rumble? Dan Bongino does his whole show on Rumble.
Twitter, it started trending. Donald Trump Jr. doesn't understand that Jimmy Carter's a nice guy. I go, no, I understand.
It's not that he's a nice guy. He's also a nice guy. But he's also a decent human being. Genuinely. Something your father isn't. Genuinely. He lives in the attic of his golf course while he cheats at golf and fantasizes about fucking your sister.
I understand. What you don't understand is basic history, that you're totally missing stagflation. You're missing the hostage crisis. You're missing a disastrous presidency. And I was wrong about Joe Biden. I grossly underestimated him. I thought it would take him years to destroy America. And he's managed to do it in a few short months.
Well, that's, obviously a great country like America that's this extraordinary. The only person that could put it on its heels so badly that a guy like Joe Biden with very few actions at all could utterly destroy the country is if somebody put America on its heels so badly that nothing survives. That would be your dad.
I don't know.
By the way, none of this is true. It's just bullshit panic, but they're selling it.
Whether to be upset or impressed, but as the father of 5 young kids, someone who's an employer of lots
that you know of.
Lots of people all over this country, it's really sad to see what's going on. And the media still is giving him every benefit of the doubt, trying to make excuses for what is utter incompetence. Okay, we understand he's not there. We get it. But the people that are making the decisions and putting whatever it is that they have to inside.
This Sean, I think we're going to see a moment of sarcasm from Sean. Let's see.
And him. Yes.
I see him as weak, frail, and a cognitive mess. Sippy Cup Joe. I like to call him Sippy Cup now because he goes to bed, doesn't work very much. But I have no doubt that Vladimir Putin sees him the way we do.
Yeah, I agree. I think you too and Vladimir Putin look at the entire world the same way. Except Putin actually acts on his murder my critics impulses, and you guys just are jealous and know you wouldn't get away with it.
I have no doubt that President Xi sees him the same way, and Kim Jong-un sees him the same way.
As you two do. Curious.
And that the Iranian mullahs see him the same way. Now, the only reason I don't think I get attacked anymore is because every time they attack me, I will play all the greatest hits of Sippy Cup. And when I play them together, it is a pretty powerful message how Sippy Cup can barely form sentences half the time.
Yeah, he has a stutter, but he cognitively knows what he's saying. Unlike, by the way, you want to talk Sippy Cup for a second? Can we just go with, let's see, where do we start? How about...
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges. Michigan gave us Motown. Gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang. Yosemites.
Let's see.
They're not allowed to be offensive, unfortunately. Once it was reluctantly aroused, it was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused. We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Karen. Soup for my family.
So, in general... We're just gonna...
My fellow Americans.
Yeah. Tell me again about Sippy Cup. Who's Sippy Cup? The guy with the stutter or the guy who has the best words but talks nonsense all the time?
Yeah, Sean, our enemies are laughing their butts off for it. There's a better word for it, but let's leave it at that. Our CIA is...
Oh, he means ass? Is he afraid to say ass on Fox News? You can say ass on Fox News. I mean, how do you think they call their guests on?
More worried about...
Hey, ass, get over here.
Putting out woke videos, recruitment videos that they really...
So he's basically just doing the index of all of his last 10 Rumble videos.
Welcome people with severe anxiety disorders, because that's wonderful. It's exactly who you want on the front lines of terror and against some really dictatorial regimes. That makes me feel good and sleep better at night as an American. This is the stuff that they're focused on. Coming out of a pandemic, that's the stuff that Joe Biden wants to raise your taxes.
By the way, those videos were made under the Trump administration.
Significantly, whether it's your place of work, whether it's you individually, whether it's everything across the board, so that they can fund more really well choreographed woke nonsense while our enemies...
At least he admits it's well choreographed. I mean, the dance numbers in some of these things. Yeah.
Laugh their butts off at us. The only people
just say ass.
Enjoying what's going on in America right now are President Xi, President Putin, the Iranian mullahs.
The Iranian?
They love it because they're watching the destruction of America from within based on ridiculous incompetence.
Oh, well, I mean, that's no way to talk about the entire Republican Party.
And, the Democrat Party is going along with it because they actually believe these things. And that's a shame.
Believe what things? Their own policies that they're having enacted?
And when the American people finally realize it, I just hope it's not too late.
Yeah, well said. Don Jr., great to see you as always. Thank you.
Yeah, it was so good. Thanks for doing a sentence on 10 different topics and not landing anywhere except just to gripe that you're no longer in power and your dad's going to have to actually be deposed in a sexual harassment case.
For being with us. Now,
You hit 100 likes.
Just brutal. By the way, let's see. Hold on. This is... Yeah. So Trump did an interview. This is just audio.
And hello, everybody. I am Rita Cosby, and welcome.
Hi, Rita.
As you hear to this special coverage on 77 WABC Radio, we are...
By the way, this is the channel that Rudy is on. So I have a theory that Trump called in because he thought Rudy was on.
Joined now live by former President Donald Trump. President Trump, thank you so much for joining me and all of our listeners here on 77 WABC.
Everyone is so excited to have you on. Well, you're doing a great job, and...
Well, thank you, Rita.
It's great to talk with you.
This sounds like it was edited already.
Mr. President, and boy, let's get right to it.
Yeah, let's get right to it. Let me cut out some of the rambly shit you did at the beginning.
There are so many huge developments that have just happened. Just a few hours ago, President Biden announced that anyone who is fully vaccinated does not have to wear a mask for the most part.
For the most part. That's basically how he put it.
What was your reaction to that? Was it bittersweet to watch it? Was it too late coming, do you think?
Well, it's taken a long time, and it's frankly surprising that he did it at all. It could have been done a long time ago.
What do you mean, during your presidency?
Did you think the fact that, like as you're saying, that he did take a while? A lot of people were saying, wait, the science is showing, the facts are showing. Why do you think he waited so long then? Waited so long. Most people are thinking he rushed it. And that's exactly the one. All right.
Well, you can only ask him that question, but the vaccine works. And
feds are investigating illegal donations to Susan Collins' 2020 campaign. Oh, boy.
It's been really a great accomplishment of the Trump administration and myself. We pushed
the who?
The FDA like they've never been pushed before, Rita.
Yes, you pushed them to bypass safety concerns, so much so that the only people who aren't taking the vaccine are Trump's followers.
And you can only ask really them why they took so long and when they paused.
Because people started getting it and they had enough cases where they could look at people and how they were, whether they got sick after they had taken it, how long it took afterwards, beyond just the test, the general public. And it lined up with what they were seeing in the clinical trials. That's when they knew they were moving into a different zone. And they had dates, both 30, 45, and 90-day windows. And once they passed those, then that's when they changed the policy, because the science backed up the change in policy, and they're responsible for millions upon millions of lives.
Was the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, that was a very bad thing because it put out the wrong signal. But look, it's...
What was the wrong signal? That we should be concerned about the lives of women?
It's a step, and they made the step, and it was late, but it was finally made, and that's a good thing.
Great. All right. I'm glad we touched on that then.
What was it like for you, Mr. President, as you talk about Operation Warp Speed?
Oh, damn it. I didn't expect her to say that. Hold on one second.
Captain's log.
Okay. There we go.
Did so much with these efforts to get the vaccines. I mean, unprecedented. Was it bittersweet in a way, too, to watch what's been happening?
Are you sad?
Of late for you?
Would you like some more casserole? Are you feeling a little wilted there, little Donnie?
No, I want to see millions of people saved, not only in this country, but all over the world, Rita. We came up with the vaccine, and
did we?
It would have taken 5 years, probably.
Good for us. Guys, we came up with it.
Wouldn't have come up with it at all. I pushed the FDA very hard.
Harder than they've ever been pushed before?
I wouldn't say they exactly like me too much, but that's okay. But we pushed them harder than they've ever been pushed, and they approved.
Oh, good. Thank you for mentioning that again.
It, and they came up with it, and the companies came up with it. And frankly, I can only be very happy about it. Most people understand we were the ones that did it. And now as people become vaccinated and, you develop herd immunity, and that's a good thing. And that's something that we've all been hearing about for a long time. And it's happening, and we had a lot to do with it. We also pushed it out.
I'm sorry, who's supposed to be the sippy cup one again? Holy shit.
I did something which was maybe the greatest bet ever made in history, in a sense, because I bought billions and billions of dollars of the vaccine before it was approved and before they knew for sure that
Congress asked for that.
it was going to work. We had an idea, but we didn't know for sure. And I bought billions. You wouldn't have had your vaccines until October of this year, so nobody would have been vaccinated. I bought them before it was approved, and that was a big bet. But, you know, we saved
It wasn't your money.
tens of millions of lives. And had I not done that, that was a risky move in a sense, because who knew?
And yeah, it was. It was a big risk.
Maybe it wouldn't have worked, but we really had no choice. So we bought billions of dollars.
So if you had no choice, then you don't get credit. If there's no choice, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
Dollars of vaccines quite a bit long before we knew it was going to work. But we'd had
Quite a bit long before we knew it was going to work.
an idea.
Do you also now urge people, and especially children as young as 12, to get the vaccine, Mr. President? Do you think that this will incentivize them, and would you urge them all to do it?
Well, I recommend it. I do. And, you know, certainly, I guess they call it the Trump vaccine. And so
Do they? Who's they? No one who takes it calls it that. Interestingly enough, the people who call it the Trump vaccine are the least likely to get it.
I certainly would. And I would, I'd like to urge everybody to get it. It's been safe and it's been totally effective, just about.
Yeah, just about.
And it's something that I think people should do. But I also believe if they don't want to do it, you can't force them to do it.
Well, it's not a belief. That's just true.
But we've developed really a tremendous vaccine in a short period of time. We've bought it. It's ready. And now it's very available. So,
yeah, why is it available? Oh, right, because the Biden administration set up a strategy interacting with all these different businesses and making sure that there was 80,000 sites within 5 miles of almost everybody in the entire goddamn country.
I would certainly urge them to get it, yes.
And everybody, we are
That was a lot. Why don't you just say yes?
talking live to former President Donald Trump here on 77 WABC. Mr. President, do you think the fact that President Biden, as you feel, took a long time to come to this moment where he actually walked out in the White House just a little bit ago without a mask, everybody was surprised about that moment. Do you believe that the sort of delayed policy was a huge mistake and also hurt the economy?
I'm sorry, leading question, Rita, but what?
Economy hurt a lot of things.
Well, I think the closures hurt. If you look at Florida, if you look at Texas, if you look at certain states,
the ones that hid their deaths,
all run by Republicans, they were much more open, and some were totally open. And they did much better medically, and from the standpoint of life and death, they did much better. And illness itself, much better than these closed states when you look at New York and various other places. So
no, they didn't.
It's been,
yeah, and if you just center on New York, which is literally the crossroads of the world, it was a petri dish. It was exactly where everybody who had it from all over the world, all the different strains, New York would be the single place in the United States where they're most likely to gather.
And pretty amazing when you think of it. But places like Florida and very much Texas, and I could name a lot of them.
But Florida and Texas.
South Dakota. A lot of places they did.
South Dakota? Do we have to do the death rate versus population in South Dakota again?
Very well, and they were open or at least pretty open, and in some cases completely open.
No, what was that? What is this? We're going to talk about sippy cup again? They were partially open and in some cases not open, but also greatly open, in some cases completely open, except where they weren't completely open, in which case they would not be completely open.
And you were pushing for that also yourself.
Thanks,
when you were in the White House. Do you feel a bit of I told you so now?
Well, I feel good that we made the right decision. We made a lot of good decisions. We got no good publicity on it. The publicity
Yeah, it's just sad.
itself wasn't good because you can't get a fair shake from the media because it's corrupt and very dishonest,
yeah, it's brutal.
Unbelievably dishonest, like it was with the election.
That's true. It's unbelievably dishonest, meaning that I don't believe you.
Like it was with a lot of things. So, we certainly didn't get great PR, but actually we did a phenomenal job. Everyone's cupboard was bare. The states were bare. The federal.
Really? We're going back. We're just playing the hits. The cupboards were bare. And you left them that way for 3.5 years.
The federal government was bare. We didn't have equipment. We didn't have gowns.
And we didn't want them. We ignored it for 3 years. It wasn't until we absolutely were in an emergency that we realized that all the life preservers, the rubber had completely gone out of them. That you had to hand blow them up because all the cartridges had leaked and all that stuff. And we just hit the iceberg, and that's when we checked to see if there's holes in the lifeboats.
We didn't have ventilators. We didn't have anything. And within a short period of time, I was able to get things done like,
a lot of ventilators, which is what we didn't need.
People were amazed, actually.
No, they weren't. They were amazed that you had let our ventilator stockpiles be depleted through just disuse and ill repair.
And every governor was thrilled and happy, and we have them on voice. We have them because we had meetings with them every.
They had to kiss your ass and pretend everything was great, or they wouldn't get PPE. Look, this chick loves me, and I have her on tape with a gun to her head telling you this. I mean, who are you going to believe?
Month, sometimes every week, but every month. And
once a month. You talk to governors once a month during a pandemic.
They were thrilled with the job we did. Everyone, Republican and Democrat.
Yeah, just overwhelmed. And anybody who complained ended up with more dead citizens.
Now, of course, then they go before the press and they don't say the same thing they said in the rooms. But we did a great job, except with public relations. We did not a good job with that.
Yeah, but Kayleigh's got a job on Fox, so,
Because no matter what job we did, it wouldn't matter. We wouldn't get good press.
It's so sad. It's just so sad. Here you are trying to fight a cabal of pedivores, and nobody's giving you a fair shake. You get this hard copies off the air, and there's college newspapers don't show up when you want them to.
Do you feel, though, if you were still president,
that's adorable,
that this moment of people walking without a mask on that are fully vaccinated would have happened sooner?
Yeah, and more people would die. It would have happened basically right after the election. Remember when he was going, right after the election, it's going to be nothing. Because he was under the belief that all the stuff about COVID was really just to stop him from getting reelected. So he thought it would dry up, and he planned to start ignoring it full time after the second election because he can't run again. So he figures, I'll just burn it out. Who cares at that point?
Well, I think this. I think once you get the vaccine, it's a much different ball game. You're safe, and I think it's a lot better. I think that could have been broadcast louder and stronger, but I think it's a lot better. And
well, they were waiting for the actual evidence to come in, not just, well, you got a shot. I think it works. You're fine. We did it as fast as it's up. Operation Fart Steed happened again.
When Fauci first came out, he didn't want anyone to wear a mask. He said it was bad to wear a mask, and then
he did not say it was bad to wear a mask.
All of a sudden, he talked about wearing 1, 2, 3. Let's get a lot of masks and wear.
No, they were doubling it up because people were just using like gaiters.
We have.
Trump sounds like a COVID long hauler. He does. He sounds a little like dry and pitiful.
I didn't follow it's interesting. I didn't follow his directives much, and I turned out to be right.
Right about what? The 14 cases and they're going to go away soon, or max out at 125,000 dead, or it'll go away with the heat, or we'll all have Easter in church. What part?
In virtually all cases.
In virtually no cases.
So it was very interesting.
I would argue in no cases. Hydroxychloroquine, light bulbs and disinfectant up your ass.
I was going to say, do you feel that today, too, with this announcement, from the CDC, do you feel it just confirms what you were saying all along?
What? Wait until the science bears out that it's safe to not wear a mask after you've been vaccinated, and that they're resilient against the other strains before you put a policy out? You mean like that, which he never said, and you obviously, this Rita, the host, obviously doesn't believe?
Well, I knew that before today, but they were a little bit late, and in some cases they were a lot late with other
Jesus
other things, and with this, I would say. But look, I'm not looking for credit. I'm not looking for anything. I just want to say
I'm not looking for credit or anything, but we did it. I made it. We made the we made the vaccine, and it wouldn't have happened unless I rushed it. But I'm not looking for credit.
Save lives. We saved millions of lives all over the world, and that's the thing that makes me happy. This could have been like the Spanish flu. This is so. I mean, you talk about the transmittability of this. It's nobody's ever. It's so contagious. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. It's like.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. We've seen measles, for Christ's sake, smallpox. People have seen shit like this. That's why you that's why you have epidemiologists. That's why we have people who can study this shit.
It's like you can look at somebody, and this could have been a.
It's like you can look at somebody. You can look at somebody and get it. Good God, man.
Spanish flu, as you know, they had the Spanish flu in
17, yep.
Oh, my son. She corrected him live, and he still said 18.
18, 19, 17, where people say as many as 100 million people died. I think without the vaccine, buddy. And this could have been a Spanish flu. As you know, they had the Spanish flu in
17, yep.
18, 19.
Yeah, 18, 19, and then he goes back for 17. Holy shit.
17, where people say as many as.
You watch. If we see another interview, see if this is the first time somebody has called him on it.
100 million people died. I think without the vaccine, that would have happened here too.
Yeah. But this is that modern medical miracle bullshit. This asshole's just lucky he was president in 2020 and not 1920.
Yeah.
How would you rate President Biden's handling of the vaccine?
Well, I think he just took over what we did. We distributed it. We had many. We were doing millions of distributions and shots, jabs, as they call it. We were doing.
Is that what they call it?
Many millions long before he took office, including him, by the way. We did him, and then he said he's working on a vaccine or something. He didn't realize he got shot. I guess he got the jab. But the fact is that they took over our program. We had the military do it. It was logistically incredible how it worked.
Yeah, because of the phone call you had with Biden last year where he told you what you could do because you dismantled the pandemic response team. Yeah.
And then he took over, and he they continued the same. I think that they did a bad thing in terms of selling the vaccine, because somehow everything having to do with the mask and all of the different things they did, including the pause with Johnson & Johnson, that hurt the ability to get people to want to get a shot.
So would
you? No. The only people not getting the shot are hardcore Trumpers and maggots.
You tell everybody listening right now, former President Trump, that yes,
that the Spanish flu happened in 1917, that it started in 1917. Tell them that.
Go get the vaccine.
Well, I would. I think it's a good thing. And
he did in secret. He got the shot. He didn't do it on camera.
It's easy to get. We made millions and millions of doses, and it's easy to get. It works, and I would recommend it, certainly. But I also say, you have your freedoms, and you do what you have to do. There are some people that are against it for a lot of reasons, I guess.
Yeah, what reason would that be? What reason?
Yes, a lot of reasons that they have, but I would recommend it, absolutely. I mean, we were the ones that did it, and I'm very proud of it, and I think
Jesus Christ. And this, by the way, Kevin McCarthy is probably like tonguing this dude's rectum right now. This, again, we just saw Sean Hannity and Don Jr. referring to Biden as slipping and unaware and rambling and incoherent and having dementia. And then this is it. And by the way, he doesn't do any of these on camera.
I think we saved tens of millions of lives worldwide.
Are you frustrated, President Trump, when you talk about, because Operation Warp Speed was...
Oh, damn it. Sorry, quicker.
Captain's log.
Was a huge success, and you were at the helm of that. And, there doesn't seem to be any...
No, he wasn't. He gave that job to Mike Pence.
Appreciation from this president of those efforts, of your efforts. Are you surprised you don't get credit for anything?
Well, a lot of...
By the way, he just told us he doesn't want credit, ma'am. He doesn't want it. Why are you going against his wishes?
Bad things are happening now. The open borders are killing our country. Tens of thousands of people are pouring in. The wall, which could have been finished almost immediately, it started 2.5
Was that someone? Is he opening a bag of chips?
years into my administration because we were fighting lawsuits. We had many lawsuits that we ended up winning. And the wall was almost completed, and then they stopped building it the first day that he was there. I don't know what that was all about because it works. Now I understand they're going to start building it again, but it could have been finished almost immediately. It was ready to be complete.
Yeah, and then they just needed the gaps so that the kids could get through.
And closed up and sealed, and it would have been great, but now they have to start.
Sealed. We're hermetically sealed in. We're a gated community.
The whole process, and it's going to cost a lot of money, a lot more money. Ours was ready to be done. The contracts were all done, and the material was on site. You see it sitting there still. The material was all there. It was
just rotting, or
very sad that wasn't done. That would have had a big impact. But at least they've now finally admitted that they're going to do it. I guess more than 100 days late, but it's too bad. And the pipeline, you look at the pipeline, 48,000 jobs, so many different things. I mean, it could have been done. And now you take a look at Israel and you take a look at what's going on with.
This is like Don Jr. This is just like, why don't I just go through a checklist of things that I think aren't working? But if anybody went through a checklist like this with Trump when he was in office, fake news. You have fake news.
Other nations, it's a lot of bad things are happening for our country.
Other nations? It's the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's been going on for a long time.
Let me ask you, President Trump, are you...
Former president. Say former. He likes it when you say former.
When you look at sort of how America has changed, and you talk about so many of these crises that President Biden is facing right now, how do you rate his leadership? And do you feel his policies are to blame for a number of these crises we're talking about?
Well, they're self-created. I mean, the border was the best it has ever been.
Then how did they get across? If the border was so impassable.
And you look at the border that we had, and again, a lot of it was that we built almost 500 miles of wall.
Almost. You repaired. You built 15 miles. I'm standing by that number. Secondly, are we talking about just leaving children walking in the desert just to because that'll show them? Is that's the Republican pro-life position now?
But the border was the best that it's ever been.
Thank you, COVID.
By not even close, and they just took everything.
Yeah, especially during the last 7 months of your presidency. What? Yeah,
everything, and just destroyed it in literally a matter of days. And now you have caravans coming up, loaded up with tens of thousands of people in some cases. And
no, there aren't. There are not tens of thousands of people in caravans. There just aren't. This is like he's just repeating shit from 2017.
They're pouring into our country. It's crazy. And you have killers, you have rapists.
Sure, yeah. And some of them, I assume, are nice people.
You have drug dealers. You have a lot of bad people coming in. And it's a very sad.
Yeah, and cleverly disguised as 9-year-olds.
Thing for our country to watch and to see. We stopped a lot of the drugs coming in because when we sealed up the border, that helped this country.
Sealed up the border. This asshole actually thinks the border was sealed.
With drugs.
If the border was sealed, Why did fentanyl deaths spike during your presidency? I mean, if Mexicans are bringing it in, and that's where it's coming from.
Drugs, but now they're coming in at a level that they've never come in before. They've never had anything like what's happening right now. We had a
Yes, we have. We've had way worse. Yeah, that's good, Bob. We should need Flex Seal on it. That'd be a great idea.
And relatively speaking, it was doing great in every way, including the distribution of drugs.
So how
It was great. The distribution of drugs was great.
big of a crisis is it, do you think, at the border right now? Do you believe it is a big national security crisis? Ted Cruz even went so far just a few hours ago saying that Vice President Harris basically it's a dereliction of duty because she's supposed to be overseeing the border. What's your reaction?
Yeah, she's not literally supposed to be over it, seeing it. I mean, it's an administrative job. How many Ted Cruz of the world think that the CEOs only know their business when they're using the bathroom on the floor of the factory?
Reaction to what's happening and how big of a crisis is this for America, what's happening at the border?
Oh, it's a tremendous crisis.
Yeah, it's huge. Thanks for leading me into that and making sure you set it up so that I could go right into it. Yeah, thank you for giving me half my answer.
And we're going to destroy our country, and we are taking in people and criminals in many cases that
drug dealers, rapists, people, murderers
shouldn't be allowed to come in, and they're coming into our country, and some very, very bad people and
hombres, I think you call them.
It's a tremendous crisis, and they don't want to use that word, as you know, Rita, but this is a tremendous crisis for our country.
You bring up the point also, President Trump, that they don't want to use the word crisis.
Yeah, he mentioned that. I heard him mention that once. I remember. I forget when it was.
Do you believe that this administration is tone deaf and sort of just unaware and just trying to hope these issues are going to go away, whether it's gas prices, whether it's, what's happening in Israel? It just seems.
What is it just me, or does this woman sound like somebody tried to give Sarah Palin Prevagen?
A very sort of disconnected feeling. Do you feel that way?
Well, a lot of people think.
Of course I do. A lot of people feel that way, not just me. I feel that way, of course.
They can say that they want them because they want the votes, but they cheat on the votes anyway. They don't need.
Yeah, we don't need a bunch of Mexicans. We just make them up. They come over in Chinese ballots filled with bamboo. Why would we even import people like that? And besides, those workers always end up working on construction sites and farms owned by big real estate developers and big agribusiness. So that just helps their business. Why would
people? Because they do it a different way. They just do ballot drops and lots of other things, as you just witnessed in the 2020 election. They can do that other ways. They don't need the people. I just think it's incompetence. Nobody can be happy with what's happening at our border. I don't care whether you're liberal or whether you're conservative, whether you're Democrat, Republican. Nobody can be happy. I don't believe that this is what they want. And now they've lost control. And by the way, it's not easy to just turn it off. You just can't go back immediately to what I was doing. That was a real trudge. That was very hard to get.
Yeah, it was so hard to get take children who'd come across with their families, separate them out, and then call them unaccompanied minors.
I got the Triangle countries and, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. I got the Triangle countries to do things that they've never done before.
Ew.
I cut off money to them, and now the money's flowing back into them at levels.
Yeah, but because people were coming. They were escaping.
We've never seen. I don't know.
That's why they were building up on our southern border. They were escaping the poverty in those countries.
Why they did that without a deal. But
that was the deal. That is a deal.
It's very sad when you look at what's going on because we had it at the best level we've ever had it, and now it's.
Thank you, COVID.
No good.
How would you rate?
No good. And listen to how quiet it gets, even though he's on the line the whole time on her questions. This was cut. This interview was edited.
President Trump, how would you rate what you're seeing now from the Biden administration and how they're handling the border and overall leadership in general? How would you describe Biden?
Give us a number so I can talk about something, so I can get a clickbait for my
Biden's leadership.
channel.
Well, the border gets an F. That's easy. And overall, we're becoming a socialist country. So, that's no good. And
yeah, that's no good. That's at least a C minus.
It will fail because all socialist countries fail, and it'll fail.
So he's rooting for America to fail, I guess.
It's just a question of how badly.
Yeah, it's just failure is a sliding scale because there's like, fail to stop or signal on a left turn. That's a failure in some ways. And then there's like massive business failure where you take your father's business that built things and turn it into a shitty branding company.
And they're doing things that Bernie Sanders can't believe and just signing everything. And, we have a real lack of leadership. It's a very.
Well, how can you sign stuff that Bernie Sanders can't believe and it not be leadership? You can disagree with it. I mean, none of that is true, and we're not heading towards being a socialist country at all, and that's garbage. And ask anybody who thinks they know what the definition of socialism is on the right or even on the left about like, oh yeah, we're totally headed in a socialist direction. It's bullshit.
Yeah, it's actually crazy to watch. You look at some of the
or maybe crazy people, when they see normalcy, think it looks crazy. I mean, I'm just saying it's a perspective.
things they're no good, and they do them anyway. So it's a very bad situation, as you know better than most, Rita.
Yeah, Rita, this is the compliment the person that he's talking to about how much they know of the things that they agree with him on. This is like one of his affectations, and you know this better than anybody, that I did all these things, Rita.
And President Trump and everybody, we're talking to the 45th President of the United States, President Trump, here live on 77 WABC. What grade, you mentioned leadership, an F, is that, what grade would...
He said F on the border. He said the socialist thing, not so good. So I think we can still do, the semester's not over. I mean, is the grade more on the test or on homework and projects? And is there time for extra credit? That's what I want to know.
Would you give President Biden just overall?
Well, I don't want to do that. I don't think that's fair.
That's not fair. I'll just stick to microblogging that the election was stolen.
I mean, I'm very unhappy for the...
Well, that makes me happy. I think that in and of itself is just... Can we all just bask in that for a second? Can we all just... Hold on. Let me back this up a touch.
Country, when I look at what's happening, and now... You're going to have
the United States, President Trump, here live on 77 WABC.
Hold on, I just wanted to enjoy this.
What
Give me
grade,
1 second.
You mentioned leadership, an F. Is that what grade would you give President Biden?
I don't want to do
just
that. It's
overall.
very unfair, right?
Well, I don't want to do that. I don't think that's fair. I'm very unhappy for the country when I look at what's happening.
I just wanted to enjoy that.
You're going to have inflation. I'm
very unhappy. I just needed to
see what's going on with a lot of different businesses, a lot of different things, and employment.
As everybody tries to make up the money they lost during the pandemic, and supply chains are still slow to recover because of Europe and Asia being behind us in their recovery.
And the employment numbers are just not where they should be. And they've ended certain regulations, rules and regulations, which
They ended certain rules and regulations?
I did the biggest tax cut in history, the biggest
That's not true.
Regulation cut in history.
That's not true either.
And I think the regulation cut was more important than the tax cut. And now they're putting some of those regulations, which are ridiculous to put on, but they're putting them back on.
Like what?
So it's...
Name one. One. You're going to drop this. What regulation? Which one? I mean, they decry regulation so much. And by the way, one of the things he says he bypassed in terms of the FDA and getting vaccines approved for emergency use goes around the regulations that have been established by scientific rigor over time. That we need to make sure these boxes are checked, these time scales are met so that we know something is safe to consume or something actually is efficacious or actually results in, can maybe fix the disease, but doesn't cause more problems than it fixes. And that's a regulation. Those are regulations within the FDA. Getting around, you need the emergency use authorization to get that through, and he bypassed it. What regulation's going back? Which one?
It can be turned around, but it'll take a period of time to turn them around. We were in
a period of time.
Such good position and now we're not in good position.
No, we're not. We're totally. I mean, the sun's in our eyes. We lost the ball entirely. I mean, and the guy's rounding second.
Well, that's why so many people are looking at President Trump and saying, boy, how different the world is, and numbers and overseas.
Yeah, it's very different.
What, ma'am? What are you talking about? How different the world is and numbers overseas?
You talked about
very different place.
It is.
Yes, the world is a very different place than America.
You talked about the economy.
It's full of foreigners, for one. I don't know if you've noticed this. But the world, I mean, there's a lot of foreigners. I mean, not in America, but in the rest of the world. Yikes.
Too. And I want to hit on the point that a number of businesses, particularly small businesses right now, are having trouble hiring people. And they're almost competing against the federal government because the federal government is giving the stimulus checks. How deeply concerned are you as you touch on the thought of inflation? Do you think we are headed there? And how concerned are you or where we're headed with this economy?
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for teeing me up with basically the content of my answer.
Well, I like people
I'm very concerned.
getting the checks. I thought it was good, and frankly, I'm okay with that because we went through a lot with the China virus, and we went through a lot. And
you're not supposed to be saying that. Motang! Look at that. Hey!
And China should have to pay us for that. It's what they've done.
Yeah, Mexico's going to pay for the wall. China's going to pay for the Kung flu. Right. Is that what we're saying?
I don't think they did it on purpose, but, they may have.
Well, if they may have, then you may have been president during the greatest biological weapon attack on the United States, and your response was to sell them all of our soybeans.
Something should happen. It's just ridiculous.
Like what? Something? We should go over there and just mass tickling?
What they've done to the world by allowing that to escape, that horrible virus to escape. So...
what horrible virus? It was 12, and that was going to go down to nothing, and it was like one old lady.
It's not going to happen through Biden, I can tell you that.
Let me ask you, we just have a few minutes.
What, we're not going to nuke them?
It's left of your time, Mr. President. I want to make sure real quick I get to a couple topics. Everybody, we are talking to the 45th president.
Yeah. Finally, 18 minutes in, let's get to a couple of topics.
President of the United States, President...
He's been made redundant. He can't stand it. Benny Loco. Yeah.
Donald Trump here live on 77 WABC. Mr. President, let me ask you real quick about the pipeline, because obviously that's a huge issue.
What pipeline was that? Like the Keystone XL pipeline? Whose fuel goes through that?
We know that this president canceled the Keystone pipeline in his first day.
Thank you, Benny Loco.
Obviously, it was a cyber hack, but was the fact that...
Wait, what? Obviously, it was a what?
On 77 WABC. Mr. President, let me ask you real quick about the pipeline, because obviously that's a huge issue.
See if you guys spotted what she said.
We know that this president canceled the Keystone pipeline in his first day. Obviously, it was a cyber hack, but was the fact that a hack coming in, shutting down a pipeline, causing such devastating effects to the East Coast of America, and it will still for a few days, even though it looks like it's back up, but it's going to take a while. Does that reinforce your policy of a reliance on oil and gas versus going to green energy, where they're talking about? Is that...
Well, if we'd already been on quote unquote green energy, the shutting down of any pipeline, either to get rid of it in the case of Keystone or the hack, which are two separate things, which she seems to conflate together into one thing, wouldn't matter.
Does that send a message of how important...
Rita, back up and say something that isn't utter bullshit.
And also that the Biden team is sort of disconnected from the needs of real Americans and how we...
Yeah, they're elites. Yeah. Things were so much more down to earth when we had a dude who owns golf courses and a branding empire, who all of his furniture was gold leafed and has on his third trophy wife. That's down home middle America. That's a flyover man.
Function.
Yeah. Well, the green is not nearly powerful enough to power up our factories. and it's extraordinarily expensive, many, many, many times more expensive than.
Oh, and it causes, windmill cancer and dead bird graveyards.
What we had been using, especially natural gas, which is really good and environmentally friendly. And, so compared to what
You're going to call it clean?
we had and what they're talking about, it will destroy our country. You're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to power up these massive factories that we want and that in some cases we're building right now because of my administration. So to watch that and to watch what they're doing in terms of energy, we were energy independent, and now we'll shortly not be energy independent.
We will?
Gas prices are going up at a level that rarely has anyone seen that before. I was down to less than $2, and now
no one was going anywhere.
they're way up and going up higher.
The oil companies were paying people to store their oil.
So what would you say to the Biden team?
From Saudi Arabia, we'll be buying it from the Middle East. We'll be
No, we won't.
buying it from Russia.
No, we won't. We're not buying oil and gas from those places. We are not.
We'll be buying it from all the people that we didn't have to buy it from.
We still don't have to. What are you talking about?
It's crazy, and we have so much.
It is crazy. You're a crazy person. None of that is true. It's just gibberish.
I got Anwar approved in Alaska.
That's not going to happen either.
All the way back to past Ronald Reagan, the presidents couldn't get it done. I got it approved.
Yeah, because it's awful.
But now with these policies they're putting in, it's absolute madness. We were energy independent, and now, soon, very shortly, we won't be.
Why? Why? Why not? I mean, we cut production like everybody else did during COVID.
How does that make you feel as, the former president of this country to watch what's happening in your mind?
Please say miserable.
Well, not good. I'd like to.
All right, well, that'll do. I'll settle for that.
Not for me, but for the
for America.
Country. You'd like to see energy independence has always been a big thing. I got it done for the first time ever. We were told.
Okay, God damn it. Do I have to? I mean, President Donald Trump falsely accused his predecessor money of locking up U.S. energy production. Actually soared under President Obama, bringing the country to the cusp of energy independence before Trump took office. Trump similarly accused leaders before him of leaving the country with wide open borders despite record deportations during Obama's presidency. They put American energy under lock and key. On the contrary, energy production was unleashed during Obama's presidency, largely because of advances in hydraulic fracturing that made it economical to tap vast reserves of natural gas. Oil production also greatly increased, reducing imports. Before the presidential election last year, the U.S., for the first time in decades, was getting more energy domestically than it imports. Which election would that be? Let's see, this is 2017. So in 2016, we were exporting more than we were importing, meaning we were energy independent before Trump took office, before he won the election. Christ almighty.
We didn't need anybody's energy. And all of
we didn't need it before you were president.
All of a sudden they end the leases, they end so many things, and we will very shortly not be energy independent. So
why?
It's not about me.
Why?
It's about the country. This is so good for our country, and energy prices were so low.
Because no one was going anywhere?
It's sort of incredible, Rita. I will tell you, incredible.
Let me ask.
Yeah, just say incredible again.
Ask you, President Trump, Israel, real quick. What a stunning change. A year ago, they were signing historic peace accords at the.
Oh, yeah. The Palestinians and the Israelis signed a peace accord last year, didn't they?
White House, the Abraham Accords, and now it looks like they are on the brink of war.
Really? Bahrain and the UAE and Qatar are attacking Israel?
Do you believe that President Biden's policies contributed to this? And what are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bahrain is strafe bombing Israel right now. I mean,
thoughts about some of the comments that have been coming also from people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and also Ilhan Omar. I don't know if you saw what she said. She basically said that that Israel is terrorism, is committing terrorism. It's really stunning. What are your reactions to that?
Well, the comments are horrible.
Yeah, I've never heard them till just now, but I know by the tone of your voice that I should say that they're awful, even though I don't comprehend them as words.
It's been happening more and more with Democrats, and they're going to the other side. And
the other side of what?
Incredibly,
the Palestinians.
If you go back 10 or 15 years, Israel was so protected by Congress, and now Democrats in Congress are no longer protecting Israel.
No,
and some are coming out just stone cold against it. So the comments are
stone cold against it. Yeah, they just drop the Iron Dome and let them kill everybody, including the 20% of Arabs that live in Israel.
Terrible. I will say this would not have happened. All the things that are happening now would not have happened if I were president. This is happening now because
it would.
Joe Biden's president, and it's too bad. But he's supposed to be leading this country in so many different ways, and you look at everything's collapsing.
Yeah, there are.
Sorry, he's supposed to lead this country? You mean Israel? So Biden's the president of Israel too. Okay, good. What?
So many crises, right?
China, you have Russia, you have all of these things that are happening that would.
Yeah, and I mean, none of that shit was happening under Trump. I mean, obviously, they only got through one phase of their 3-phase deal, and they only lived up to about a third of what they promised to buy in phase 1. And of course, they at the same time were, according to him, attacking us with the largest bioweapon attack in the history of the world. And then what else?
Would never have happened with me.
Let me ask you about Liz.
Yeah, the Russians never did anything egregious while Trump was in office.
Cheney, President Trump, because, of course, she was ousted just yesterday from leadership. Tomorrow.
Oh, Liz Cheney.
There's going to be an important vote. Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, I know who you back. There's another one, Congressman Chip Roy. First, I want to get your thoughts. What would you say to Liz Cheney? Because she still says she's going to ensure you never get anywhere near the Oval Office again. She's, still...
Yeah, she can say that because he's not actually going to run. There's no way.
Saying these comments afterwards.
Never.
Well, she's a warmonger. Her family got us, namely her father, but push Bush.
She's a warmonger because of her dad.
Into going into the Middle East, it was the worst and most tragic mistake ever made by our country. Millions and millions of people died, both sides, and we've spent $9 trillion.
Millions and millions died, both sides. Does he think it was World War II?
$1 billion on that ridiculous quicksand, and it was nuts. And I've gotten them out just about. They'll be out very shortly.
Yeah, they're going to be done.
Started a movement that can't be stopped, and fortunately, Biden kept it going, and is going to get them out. But it's 20.
Yeah, Biden will get them out. Yeah, you didn't. You weren't able to.
21 years.
Made the same motions that Obama wanted to do during his presidency, and even Bush did in the tail end of his presidency, but you didn't.
21.
Biden's gonna do it.
People keep saying 19. It's not 19. It's now 21 years, and 21 years is far too much. We haven't had a soldier killed in Afghanistan in over a year. That was with me, not a soldier. Well, none of our soldiers have been killed in a year, but we're getting.
Yeah, that's again because COVID hit everywhere.
Out, and that's a good thing. But her father, got us into that nightmare of the Middle East.
So she never should have been given a leadership role in the Republican Party then.
And we have to prepare for other things. When I came in, our military was depleted.
Yeah, but if we're not going to get in crazy forever wars and there's no reason to go fighting in, why do we need to replenish our military?
Our planes were old, everything. We've rebuilt our entire military, all American made. By the way,
not true.
We have the best
not true
jets in the world, the best equipment in the world. But I did this. We started a Space Force. We did
Space Force
so much, but it's time to get out, and we should have gotten out a long time.
Out of space? Yeah, sure, agree.
Time ago, frankly, shouldn't have gone in. That would have been even better.
Why didn't you get out as soon as you got in there? If you knew all this, I mean, you were president for 4 years.
Remember, I used to say, don't.
while you weren't filling the cupboards that were bare, why didn't you, maybe you could have taken the troops out of Afghanistan, put them in the cupboards.
Go in, but keep the oil if you do. Well, we didn't do anything. I kept the oil.
Oh, my God. And now he's talking about war crimes.
In Syria. We're out of Syria, except I left people.
I started Sparks Force, so what? That's right. We have Sparks Force.
To protect the oil. I kept the oil in Syria, but we should have done it in Iraq.
You didn't keep the oil in Syria. America doesn't own the oil in Syria. What are you talking about? And if this asshole got Rudy Giuliani and some Russians or whatever to give his family the oil after this, what the...
But we didn't do it because we had stupid leadership. And pretty
well, it would be a war crime.
Much that's the story.
What would you say to Liz Cheney, though?
Yeah, what would you say to Liz Cheney?
Unusual situation we're in right now because we seem to be losing on every front.
So what would you say to Liz Cheney, who has really been just, very staunchly against you, really blasting you, and continues to do so and says you're not going to be...
Rita, keep trying. You're going to get that little sound bite you want. I know you want something exciting like, oh my God, former President Trump said XX on Rita's show. It's not going to happen. It's all going to be this kind of blather. I know you want it, and you want him to make news by saying something sharp, coherent, smart, and cutting, but he's incapable of doing that. He never really was. It was just his targets were weak. Now he's even, this is him plus COVID
going to be near the White House, if she has anything to do with it.
Which, she doesn't have to worry about it. He's not going to run again.
Well, look, she's been a loser. She got out by almost unanimous vote. I don't know if it's ever even happened before where something like that happened. I had virtually nothing to do with it except the party likes me. I have a very high approval rating in the party.
Now that everybody who has any sense has left the party?
The highest ever, actually higher than Ronald Reagan, which I'm very honored to have. But, people...
Well, that's, again, because real conservatives all have left the party.
We'll see that what I did was right. We had the greatest economy in the world, the most jobs, 160 million jobs.
The most deaths.
We never had anything close to that. The lowest tax.
Yeah, we did. We had 1.2% inflation after World War II for like 3 years.
This is the best on regulations, the best on the military, the best on the vets. Look what we did with the vets. It was amazing what we did with the vets.
What?
Because we had a 93% approval rating with the vets, which...
Notice it's gone up 3% since we last talked. He's always been hitting that 90%, which was one poll.
Running the VA. That's never happened before. All it was is a mess.
You mean because Obama fixed it and it took time for it to trickle down?
So, we did a real job, and she's
a
warmonger. She's against me because of the war. She wants to...
See, Nina, I thought so too. I thought he was going to go for the VA Choice Act of 2014.
Stay and have people have their legs blown off. Wonderful, wonderful people, men and women, and just stay there forever. And we can't...
You mean dead?
Can't do that, not as a nation. It's too expensive in terms of lives and too expensive in terms of money. And it's time we got out. And I brought it down to less than 2,000 people, and the rest are coming out now.
No. The number, there's approximately 8,000 when you were midway through your presidency. The number went up.
And really, it was a freight train that doesn't stop. So we got out, and we got out pretty quickly once we really started the move. But, we were entrenched, and people like Liz Cheney kept us there.
So what would you say to her that she still continues?
Yeah, well, he already said she's a loser. Didn't he say stone cold?
Continues to make comments even after...
Why don't you say something like, give her a nickname?
About her. I don't care about her. She's a loser, and she's going to lose. In Wyoming, her state was a great state for me, one of my highest, maybe my highest. I won by a tremendous amount.
Yeah, a tremendous amount. How many people are in Wyoming?
She's down to 9% popularity. Her approval rating is at around 9%. The people can't stand her. She's not...
By the way, I'm not going to get upset when Republicans eat Republicans. So I think we should all just sit back and watch this.
A person with any personality. She's not a person with any vision other than, let's have soldiers in every country, everywhere in the world. And frankly...
Did she put a bill forward on that?
Things we
was there a bill?
Can do with our money.
John Katzimatidis.
And with our lives, by the way, and with our lives.
And John Katzimatidis, of course, who owns 77 WABC, you brought up Space Force. He brought up the idea of a cyber force that should come into play with the pipeline, with what happened.
We have CISA. He fired the head of CISA because the guy wouldn't toe the line with the big lie.
Would you think that that's a great idea? Sort of an academy, sort of a West Point of teaching people cyber.
And John's a very smart guy, and he's a friend of mine, a great person, a supporter. And John is, he's right about that. We actually have a good form of it, but not, in my opinion, not good enough. But
right, we already have it.
John's 100% right. See, that's why he's successful.
See, there you go. And speaking of success, do you believe that with this vote of Liz Cheney ousted from leadership, and of course, if Elise Stefanik, who you support, goes in, do you believe that that's a message that this is the party of Trump, that this is the Republican Party of Trump?
Yes, please. Yes. Say yes. Yes, say it's the Trump movement.
Well, look, I'm not looking to have it be the party of Trump. I'm looking to have a great country. I'm looking to have a country that is run by people that know what they're doing, and we had it going.
Well, we do. I appreciate you losing the election then.
And then they had a fraudulent election, and many people know that.
No, not even close. Not even a majority of the Republican Party.
It was a total fraud. And it's coming out. You take a look at Arizona. You take a look at different places that are looking right now. Michigan. Look at what's going in Wisconsin. So many different places. Look.
Yeah, any day now.
Even in New Hampshire. So many different
New Hampshire
places. It's all being found. And so we'll see what happens.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. They're not going to find anything that will change the election. It's just going to reinforce that it was sound, and that any shenanigans they find, they're going to find like the asshole who murdered his wife and then voted for Trump on her behalf.
But it was a fraudulent election, and people are very unhappy about it.
No. People are not. I'm quite happy about it. And quite frankly, my guess is half of Trump voters are actually relieved.
Now look at what's happening with the borders and with all of the other problems that we've got that we should have never had.
Yeah, I know. Luckily, we could have just had a million more deaths.
And everybody, we are talking live to former President Donald Trump. We opened it up to listeners. Some of these questions, Mr. President, were from listeners
oh boy,
because we had so many who wanted to ask.
Yeah, one of the listeners was apparently John Katzimatidis.
A few questions, but of course the big question, I know you've been asked this a lot, but I have to ask you is, what are your plans? Are you more likely, as you're seeing what's happening to the country economically, also socially too? There's been so many changes.
Yeah, he's gonna run for the head of BLM.
Are you more apt to say, I'm looking to run in 2024? Is there?
Yeah, he's gonna take over the Proud Boys.
Sort of more of a gut as you're seeing.
Well, I'm loving what I do, and I'm loving the results that we've had.
That's a no.
And I think people will be very happy with my decision.
Are you?
That means no.
More likely? Do you see as you see things coming apart?
I don't want to say that because, but I will tell you, I've loved the results that we've had. I've done a great job for the American people. They understand that. You got 75 million votes, which no president has ever gotten anywhere near that number. No sitting president has ever gotten anywhere.
What about the guy you lost to?
Near that number. I don't.
So mail-in voting is good?
I believe that Biden got anywhere near that number either, by the way. But we have.
Yeah, his votes were all legit. Biden's were stolen.
We've done a real job, and I look forward to making people very happy.
Ew.
Which sounds like someone who's definitely watching things. We've known you a long time, Mr. President. I would assume you're watching 2022 and then making a decision after that. But if I were a bettor, and you know Atlantic City, would you put your bet on you for the next go round? Do you see anyone else who could lead the party?
Answer, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun together, and we're going to have a lot of fun with the people of your audience, and you have a great audience, and it's great being with them, and they've been very supportive. They've been really very supportive. And
that's a no, by the way. He's not going to run again. And what he means is I'm going to bleed as much money out of your audience as I possibly can, holding them, making them think that I'm going to run.
We'll have a lot of fun together, and we'll do a great job for our country.
That sounds to me like someone I've known a long time who sounds like he's leaning more and more towards it, because we've had so many people from our audience saying, as they've seen the country falling apart, remembering your leadership.
Well, tell them to stay tuned.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, what an honor to have you here. We are so grateful that you made the time, and thank you so much for being with us here live.
No, thank you for editing my answers. And sorry, even with all that work, they still came out as incoherent nonsense.
77 WABC.
That's amazing. I mean, this is basically him just calling in his PJs again to right-wing radio. Like this, it's almost like his presidency never happened. All right, we've got a little time or whatever. Let's go. So it's not all Don Jr. Come on now. Sometimes it's Giuliani's kid, Eric.
Folks, we are Americans, patriots.
Oh yeah.
We're a breed of...
Are we? Is the screen dark for a reason? Are the lights out in the studio? Did you hire Mark Levin's lighting guy?
We rebelled against the most dominant empire on earth with a ragtag group of citizen soldiers.
Citizen shoulders? Were they all wearing green and pink taffy ties when that happened?
A nation that insists on constitutional rule of law and not of men.
Right, which is why Bill Barr and Rod Rosenstein running interference in the Mueller investigation to protect Trump should worry everyone who watches Newsmax.
We know how flawed rulers can be.
Yeah, especially in the neck and jowl area, and when they have, like cotton candy swept over hair, or when they put on their own makeup and they get that line right around here.
And we question them, or at least we did.
Well, yeah, and you didn't during the 4 years, sure.
Fauci, Walensky, Biden, Bill Gates, stoking fear and benefiting from the societal retreat. No more. Enough.
How? See, Fauci and CDC have done more harm than good. So I'm guessing this asshole thinks that you shouldn't get vaccinated.
We shouldn't listen to this kind of dribble and submit to such propaganda, even if it's cloaked in well-meaning wishes for our health. We're not...
If it's cloaked in it, or it actually is contained within.
Going to fall for it anymore, and thankfully...
He couldn't get to a tanning bed, so he improvised? Yeah. Is there any way to get me darker, and have you maintain your melanin levels and still be... any darker and you're in danger of being accused of doing something racially insensitive.
Texas is...
Can you turn the lights down? Sure.
Not. Joining us now to discuss this and more is Trump Organization Executive Vice President...
Yipe! Now I know why they had to lower the lights or whatever, because he looks like a jellyfish.
President Eric Trump. Eric, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Curious your reaction. I am happily now, previously I claimed the name deplorable, as many of us did. It was meant as a pejorative, of course, from
about a small segment of Trump voters, but
Hillary Clinton, and we embraced it. I think now we might have to consider ourselves Neanderthals.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, you'd have to be a lot more butch.
Given how well Texas is doing regarding the virus and reopening, your thoughts? Are you a Neanderthal, Eric?
Yeah, clearly we all are. And by the way, guys, you're killing it with the new show. We love it. I've been watching it, and you guys are doing a great job. But listen, I live in New York, right? I've lived...
Yeah, you're a cultural elite. You're a rich boy. You're third-generation rich kid. You've never had to work a day in your life. Yeah, you live off your grandfather's legacy and your aunt and uncle's money.
In New York, I go into the office every single day, and I literally look out a window, and I see buildings that were just empty all throughout the pandemic. Then I'd go down to Florida, and guess what? Everybody's, enjoying life. They're doing well, and the cases were substantially lower
because they hid the numbers
in Florida. And I heard what you just said, Steve, about Texas. It's such a great point. How could everybody be living free and enjoying life and living like Americans and living in a free society, yet New York has literally decimated the entire state?
Well, they were hit harder and earlier, and Texas was hit later when the actual limits were already put on. Masks and all those rules were already established. Best practice was already established when it started hitting the other states.
The entire state has been shut.
Bye, Carrie.
New York City has been shut. The restaurants have gone out of business. The shopping centers and the malls have literally closed.
The death rate was higher than anywhere else.
Small businesses have closed at alarming rates in this state, yet their numbers, and you just did it on that chalkboard, their numbers are substantially higher than other states like Texas and Florida and so many others that weren't nearly
I guess we're not doing per capita
as restrictive. What does that tell you? And then you have a hypocritical governor this week, Governor Cuomo, who literally comes out and says, we're not going to listen to the CDC. They were always the guys that said, the science matters. We're not going to listen to the CDC. Even though the CDC came out and said if you're a vaccinated person, you can take out your mask. No, New York's not going to follow, those rules. Then all of a sudden he starts getting hit, and he kind of changed course today. But
are we all going to think for a second that, are we going to live under the illusion that Eric Trump's description of facts was actually based on anything?
I'm sick of the hypocrisy. I'm sick of the nonsense.
Right. So you're divorcing your family?
Lockdowns in this.
You're going to go just leave and go live with your real dad?
State absolutely killed New York State. They didn't need to have happened. And listen, it's really amazing to see how well other places are performing, relatively speaking, who actually allowed American freedom to reign.
Thank you, Mr. President Geek.
Eric, as more of the country starts to see some return to normal, there's
under the Biden administration.
a lot, unfortunately, that is nowhere near normal.
Look at the three of you. One of these things is not like the other.
Back to before the pandemic, record low unemployment. You look to, even last year, the border was under control. Gas prices were the lowest that they had been in years. We could
when no one can go anywhere or do anything.
Go through a long list of what has changed since Biden has taken office. When you look at where things are today, this week in particular, so much is happening. What do you find most shocking?
Israel, the border, the jobs numbers. Look, my dad.
Well, listen, Jen, I find it heartbreaking. I find it heartbreaking as a person who's literally spent the last 5-6 years fighting for this country. I mean, my father
Wait, Eric Trump? I'm sorry. Are you a vet? You've been fighting for this country? Doing what? Defrauding charities?
It's heartbreaking. Look at it.
Defrauding St. Jude's Children's Hospital?
A piece of 2x4 right now is $10. A piece of plywood is literally $70, $80, depending on where you are.
Because of the housing boom and the fact that supply chains are interrupted because of COVID. Do you think it's going to stay that way? Does anybody think that? Does anybody think that once we go back to full work capacity by the fall, for example, that wood is going to be that price? And that there's not going to be a spike in building because of the cheaper prices of lumber?
Gas has doubled and tripled in some places. Obviously, you see the gas shortage.
Yeah, you mean from when no one was using it?
All over, the Southeast and,
The Southeast? Is that where it was, Eric?
And what's happening there a lot.
By the way, he's saying Southeast because he can't drive. Because nobody in his family drives. They live in New York. They take cars everywhere. He thinks it's Southeast. The Northeast was hit by it.
I mean, this is going back to Jimmy Carter era, fuel problems. I mean, look what's happening in Israel right now, where they're getting shelled by
What'd I say?
rockets. I mean, that would have never happened under my father. And
your dad didn't run for the presidency of Israel.
And then extrapolate that out, guys. I mean, you literally have Putin that's probably...
And by the way, hold on one second. Somebody was saying, hold on. Let's see. Let's just try this. Yeah. That's what I was talking about. Housing sales are going to continue to climb. They're nearly an all-time high right now. New housing building is the big boom. And then people purchasing a house, largely because there's a lot of people who had small businesses who have converted over time or recognized that they spent a lot more time at home, started deciding that they've outgrown their homes and all that kind of stuff. It was a natural part of the cascading aspect of COVID, that housing is absolutely in line for another boom, and materials the only thing slowing it down. Just saying.
Probably, licking his lips as he sees what's happening and kind of the lack of kind of the void, the vacuum of American.
And the new housing for the executive class? No, the middle class house growth is behind the large numbers of them. You don't selling more mansions on a certain level to a single class of people isn't what drives a housing boom.
Dominance, not doing anything about this crisis in the Middle East, saying, you know what, if
we have people negotiating with both sides. We're just not automatically pulling the trigger that one side is right.
They can get rid of this, if the Palestinians can get rid of this, guess what? I bet we can do the same thing to Ukraine. And China's probably saying, we can probably do the same thing to Taiwan. And we can,
Wait a minute. So in this case, Russia and China are saying because Biden's not stopping them from attacking Palestine, that means Russia and China will feel comfortable attacking Taiwan and Ukraine, and not that the Biden administration is allowing, at least at this point in their estimation, Israel to strike the Palestinians, which would be the side that aligns with Iran and thereby is getting weapons from Russia and China, which is what his brother said would actually make China think that we would support Taiwan in attacking Chinese ships, or we would give more material support to the Ukrainians to attack Russians if they came in.
Guys, just extrapolate the problems out. There is a void of leadership in this country. Crime is skyrocketing. Prices are going through the roof. Inflation is going absolutely crazy. People can't put fuel in their car. People are afraid.
What are they afraid of?
It's sad. My father had these problems under control. The border is an absolute mess. That didn't need to be the case. The wall was working, and they were building miles.
Well, why did it stop working?
Miles and miles and miles of.
Why did it stop working? How come the parts that he built don't work anymore?
Every single day, and these reckless policies are literally destroying our country.
When you mentioned the border, why the hesitancy for Biden or Kamala Harris to go down there?
I think because it's an absolute mess. Clearly, they don't want a border wall. They are,
Why did Trump go anywhere except like out near the edges when they were building chunks of the wall? Did Trump ever go to a migrant center? Did Trump ever have a meeting with immigrant rights groups or with the lawyers representing them, or lawyers representing the U.S., or have a round table with both sides of that organization? Of course not.
No, they want any illegal immigrant to be able to run across an invisible line. They don't want to do a single thing about it. They don't care about immigration. They don't care about results.
Well, then why do they have a comprehensive immigration bill that they want to pass? And why won't any Republicans vote for it, even though they support it?
Frankly, Jen, if you want to know the answer, I think they're lazy. I think they lack motivation.
That's what it is. They all need Tony Robbins' time of your life system, or Ultimate Edge, probably Ultimate Edge.
I think they lack the charisma to do what my father did.
That's what it was. It was charisma. Trump had charisma. That was the drive. That was what really landed things. That was all the Guatemalan immigrants were like, I'd cross the border, but I don't know. He's so charming. He says don't, and I just do it.
My father was on a plane every single day. He was literally going somewhere every single day. And where are these two? Why don't?
What? No, he wasn't. He was going to rallies. He was going to get his ass kissed. He was going to his own golf courses.
Did you ever hear from them? Why don't, they're not giving press conferences.
Yeah, they are.
They're not going out in the Rose Garden like my father was. They aren't.
They just went out in the Rose Garden and announced the mask change.
Doing press conferences as they're getting on Air Force One. They're not traveling anywhere. I mean, there just seems like it's a...
Seems like they work in Washington. It's almost like Washington, D.C. is the capital of America, and they're there doing that work instead of just flying around the country to get their ass kissed by crowds. Secondly, they're going on a sales tour. They're sending members of the administration out to push the infrastructure bill.
There's a vacuum in Washington. There's no energy. There's no speed. There's no desire to actually fix these problems. And
no,
really? What you mean, infrastructure problems? Why would that be? Oh, right, because Republicans, even though 60% of Republican voters support the infrastructure bill, 0 of Republican senators and House members will vote for it.
That is depressing.
It's an incredibly different era, unfortunately, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically 1977 all over again, which, by the way, I can't wait for the new KISS record to come out.
I do want to also ask you about the era that the Republican Party is in, because corporate media and the Democrats want us to believe that there's some sort of civil war afoot. But when we look at the actual voters of the Republican
Yeah, the voters, they're 60% behind the infrastructure bill.
Party, maybe not legacy office holders, but voters, we see relative unanimity. There was some polling that came out over the weekend from CBS. Your father amplified some of this polling, understandably so, because it was very positive to him and to the American.
GOP should follow Thump's example. Okay, but folks, I did not make this. This is not. I did not do that. Please don't think. Please don't think oh, God damn it. Please don't think I made this. It's his dad and he's sitting right there. Thump. I told you. Newsmax, stop going to Fiverr. No offense, Fiverr, but I mean, you get what you pay for. Thump's example. Oh, I just got to bask in that for a second. So, please, God, tell me that they've asked him to refer to this graph that they're going to show him. And he's looking at this. Please tell me they didn't give it to him printed out. Is that amazing or what? Holy shit. Among Republicans. What happened? What is this? GOP should follow Thump's example among Republicans. Among. That's, oh God, that's just beautiful. Oh, Newsmax. Hold on, I gotta make sure, did I grab, okay. Wrong screen, 1 second, over here. Hold on. I want the other screen, damn it. Oh God, that's funny. Thump's example among Republicans. God damn it. Oh shit. Oh, this is just beautiful. I just enjoy this for a second. This is a professional news organization. These people at one point were beating Fox in the, yeah, I'm trying to take a screenshot. Hold on. I've got to figure out how to, I want to do it on the other, let's see, over here. Come on, take it. Not over there, stupid. What? Oh, God. Oh, it's so funny. That's so good. Hold on, let me do one thing real quick. I'm gonna move this over here so I can take this, because that is just, that's super fun. Okay, now I've got it. All right. Oh, God. Among. Please have them reference it. Please, God. Please. Thump's example among Republicans. Please notice this on air.
The America First movement, and on key economic issues, they asked Republican voters where they stand.
Oh, please tell me when it comes back it's fixed, because they went, dude.
And do they support the Trump America First vision? And on the economy, 89%. Immigration, 88%. Interacting with the media, 77%.
Interacting with the media? What do you mean, calling them fake news and threatening their lives?
These kinds of numbers, Eric, tell me that
I'm laughing so hard my salad almost went down my windpipe. I'm sorry, Connie.
The party has been fully transformed into a
Oh, they totally pulled it down.
pro-Trump.
Polls show Trump's influence on GOP.
America First Party. Your thoughts?
Well, my father did a tremendous job, and he brought results, and that's what people wanted. He wasn't the politician. He went in.
He was the president of the United States. You damn well better be a politician. That's like my dad was a great police officer because he wasn't a cop.
There, and
He was just used to put the outfit on and drive around the neighborhood beating the shit out of people.
fought for the American people, and that's what literally Americans
Not all of them, of course.
love. And guys, honestly, you know, I'm my own little
Biden committed to codifying Roe v. Wade regardless of Mississippi case. White House,
brother.
yeah.
I can walk down the street.
You mean the ruling that gives us all medical privacy?
I feel more Trump love right now.
Ew. Look at that. And her reaction is priceless. Just that, and she had to shut her eyes and avoid watching him say those words out loud. Like, if that's not a gimme a fucking break face. Thanks, Adam. Why does Eric Trump literally say literally every minute? Literally? I think literally he thinks it means figuratively.
Than I felt in so long. And there's always tremendous Trump love, but people are seeing the mess that these people are making of the
Yeah, I mean, look at this video from 2 years ago.
country right now. They're seeing how bad these policies are, right? I mean, the tax policy, the immigration policy, prices, inflation, everything that I mentioned before, that's a mess.
Wait, prices and inflation?
You know, wars. Look what's happening with.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously there's more Trump love now than there was then, where you got half empty seats and this dude on his fucking phone and this dude like waiting for his moment to hold up his sign with his buddy who drove there, and he's like, I'm not into it, bruh. But he's like, dude, this is the best. And this guy over here who's just about to ball shoot the rest of us like a gym teacher. This guy over here is just magic. I'm seeing a lot of comorbidities. The dude in the flag shirt is on his phone too.
Iran and everything else. I mean, our enemies are becoming emboldened.
Yeah, this is good video choice, by the way. This is way better than the graph.
And we're losing the respect around the world. And
There you go, half empty in the back. Look at this. Are they, honest to God, are they messing with him? Because look at the crowd, like the floor space. And there's Trump. This is a whole thing, but this is all like empty down in here. Like there's just scattered crowds. This was supposed to be, and this is all empty up here, of course. Scattered audience here. They obviously put people behind them because that's where the cameras were. So they took them out of this side to put them back here because they knew, they're like, they won't even turn the cameras around. And they don't want them to because they would show that, yeah.
And so many other things. Trump's policies worked, and he also fought very, very hard for this country. And
excuse me, it's thump.
As all of it unravels, these
yeah, it's amazing how great his policies were, and yet they didn't last 3 months.
people who might not
Donald Trump, the Charmin, the one-ply truck stop toilet paper of presidencies.
have liked a little mean tweet once in a while, or might not have liked somebody who was, you know, less PC from a personality standpoint, are actually kind of recoiling and saying, you know what? On second thought, that man was.
On second thought, you know, maybe you could, you know, keep trans people from serving in the military with a simple tweet. You know, I'll put up with that if he just bites the right Mexican.
Actually incredibly effective for this country versus what we have right now. And I think what it's going to lead to in 2022 is going to be incredible. I think.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Keep thinking that. And you know what? If you want to support Eric Trump and his father and Republicans, the real ones, not the rhinos, please send all of your money to Donald J. Trump. Go to donaldjtrump.com. There's a link there. Please give them all your money. Don't give it to the RNC and don't give it to individual candidates. I mean, if they get the Trump seal of approval, he'll give them money directly. So please, and if you're already doing that, please double what you're giving them.
I think what it's going to lead to in 2024 is going to be something very special.
Something very special.
I think it's the last you've seen of Trump, to say the least. But I really.
What else was I supposed to say to get the suckers to continue to give us money?
I think we're going to have decisive victories because of it. I mean, it's You know, you couldn't have.
He's flagging, guys. Jump in. He doesn't have anything to say. You're supposed to save him from himself. This isn't Don Jr. Eric hasn't had a blast of coke in like 10 minutes.
Have a larger contrast between two worldviews, and this current worldview isn't working.
Eric, I want to ask you about something you tweeted about recently. I know how much you value.
Wait a minute. He's on Twitter? I thought big tech was shutting down real conservatives all over the place.
And respect our law enforcement. Particularly, you mentioned the Secret Service in that tweet. We just passed National Police Week. Biden issued a statement where he really focused on the deep sense of distrust, as they put it, towards the police. I know your father.
Yeah, what else did he say? What else did he say? About the respect that they deserve for putting their lives on the line. What else did he say? Did he say, you know what, maybe Antifa's right? Did Biden come out and say, let's defund the police? No, he didn't. Not even close. Tell us what he, don't paraphrase. Tell us what he actually said. But you can't, because all three of you would go, oh, it was a good point.
Father also a fierce supporter of our law enforcement. They support.
Yeah, except when they're guarding the Capitol, and then in that case, fuck them. And of course, if they're the FBI and they're, kicking in the door of a child molester, then, obviously they have the bullets coming, right, Eric?
Supported him as well. Your reaction to how things have changed and just that law enforcement feels like they don't have that support anymore.
From whom?
Law enforcement, men and women, and you know this, Jen. I mean, I'm the biggest law enforcement person. Some of the greatest men and.
Then why won't you show up for depositions? Why won't your dad? Why'd the DOJ run interference for him? If you believe in law enforcement, that's a whole process. It's not just cops. That's not just like beat cops and traffic cops who encounter, the most dangerous moment most people experience in their lives. Cops do that 5 times a day. But if you're all pro-law enforcement, then why don't you let the laws be enforced?
Men and women in the world, hands down. And, it's really interesting. You look at Minneapolis, right? They had cries a year ago, let's defund the police, right? No one had ever heard that before. They realized what a bad campaign slogan that was, so they kind of reversed course. But
you mean they didn't actually use it as a campaign slogan?
All of a sudden, the city council went and actually defunded, police in Minneapolis. And guess what? Crime went through the roof. They literally went back to law enforcement. They begged them to come back to patrol the streets because, the world just got out of control. I mean, men and women, I'm not saying that there's not bad apple here and there. There is in every profession, but.
Why are you focusing on bad cops? Huh? Why are you doing that, Eric? Why aren't you having a positive message for law enforcement? Why aren't you supporting it? Why would you even bring that up? Do you even cop, bro?
Men and women of law enforcement are incredible people. They're treated horribly by
Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump.
Media. They're treated horribly by so many, but thank God we have them, because honestly, you'd have anarchy. You'd have, and we've seen it. I mean, we've seen it with Antifa. We've seen it with people burning down Portland and Seattle and Minneapolis and so many other places. Thank God.
And people not showing up for subpoenas.
God, we have the incredible men and women, and it sickens me when the media take shots at them, and it sickens me when other people take shots at them, because they do so much good in society.
Yeah, you mean the FBI?
Eric, I want to ask you, your father said that he's going to have an event in North.
By the way, Newsmax, again, your graphics sucks, the lights are out. Is the microphone off? Are we just using the light on his laptop? Do they have a contract that says she doesn't have to be around him and she gets the real studio and he's doing his shit from home?
Carolina in June. Are we going to see more of President Trump on the road?
Yes, please. The answer is no, by the way.
Steve, you're going to see a lot more of him, and
he's gaining weight.
And again, it kind of goes to that void that I was talking about. I mean, you literally have 75 million plus Americans, right?
Who are going, where'd he go? Is he really just going to golf his life away? Yes, he is.
Right now, who don't have a voice.
She's an anime Paris Hilton.
Don't have an outlet. They don't think anybody represents them. They don't think anybody cares about them. This is
yeah, but that's because they're lunatics.
Exactly what, frankly, they found in 2016, where they were voiceless, and it's one of the things that really attracted them to Trump. And it's when you have a media that is as propagandist as it is, and
really, you're really going to say propagandist and all the colors we see on screen match the actual signs handed out, and they're showing rally footage again. Hey, thanks. By the way, do you like the Queer as Folk GIF for when people start following? Just saying. I was on a real ledge of an 8-story building there. Just saying.
You have an administration that's doing what they're literally.
Yeah. What kind of news organization would put up just a bunch of sign-holding lunatics?
Looking to somebody as their savior, and they're really looking
Thanks,
to my
Nika.
father in that way. And I think he will continue to fill that void. He's going to go out there. He's going to go on the road. He's going to see the American people. He loves doing that.
We're running this footage again? I didn't even notice this one before. She's fucking miserable. Look at this. I don't know why we're even here. This is not NASCAR, okay? He's saying the same shit.
There's frankly no one better at it than he is. But I'm telling you, there's a major yearning in this.
And the same half-empty stadium shot.
This country.
I think they're trolling Eric.
For some normalcy and some patriotism and somebody who actually loves red, white, and blue. And I think
Then why is his entire apartment gold?
you'll see a lot of my father, and I can't wait personally. Those rallies, they never get old. They're always a lot of fun. And this administration, Steve, is giving him a lot of ammo. They're kind of digging their own grave, but it's certainly giving them in him.
That's not violent rhetoric at all. By the way, that's the name of this. Eric Trump, my dad has plenty of ammo. Biden digging own grave. That doesn't sound violent and psychotic at all.
A lot of ammo, to say the least. They're going to be
Eric,
they're going to be a lot of fun.
Literally.
They're going to be very entertaining.
Yeah, they're going to be, there's going to be so much better because he doesn't have to talk as long, and you'll get your own side stage like your own Loser Palooza.
We're so looking forward to having him back on the road and to watching.
Yeah, because we need footage. We need something else. All we've got are those 4 clips of people sitting in the stands scratching
those
themselves.
rallies. Thanks so much for being with us tonight, Eric Trump.
You're welcome, Jen.
Hey, I'm
Good Lord. That's the kids and the dad. That's all of them. And then, by the way, hold on. You guys will notice if possibly that I tweeted to YouTube about some of the stuff we saw yesterday, and I got an article from some friends who were making this, who sent me this about how QAnon channels are deleting their own YouTube videos to avoid punishment. So what they do is they live stream and then they take it down within 5 days before they get a chance for the review. And since no one's live reviewing it, that's how they get you. Had I known this, I probably could have avoided most of my, the strikes that I've had about past videos from years ago much earlier. But there you go. So this is an ongoing thing. So I would let's see if I can, hold on. I'm going to grab something real quick. And then I want to show you guys just the volume of it is friggin' crazy. So this is live. This is just me right here. Okay. So this is, that's me up in the corner. There you go. There's one. That's the show. So you know where this is happening currently. Charlie Ward show with Simon Parks. This is a Q show. There's Zoe Jada. Hey. Adrenochrome and the Red Onyx Ring, Hollywood, Evil Pope. What do we really know about the Catholic Church? Doug Kuzma, that's coming up next. Mr. Constitution, Doug Gibbs. Patriot Street Fighter, Constitution Class 6. These are all people who are Q supporters. Simon Parks, this is live now on Sultana Cooking House. Remember that station we looked at yesterday? This is, let's see, tons of stuff that I get referenced, in a mix of things or whatever. This is the Fully Rely on God frog guy who does this is the Doug Kuzma channel again. This guy, is one of used the Pepe meme on a lot of his stuff. You can tell I just watch across a ton of stuff. And by the way, Johnny Bravo, knock it the fuck off with the clickbait. This is embarrassing. All right, there, I've said it. I'm glad I'm simulcasting with Timcast, with Tim Pool. He's a right-winger who masks himself as a classic liberal, that old idea. He's basically like he and Ruben report both kind of overlap on a lot of stuff. 19,000 people watching it, by the way. Just saying, dude's bills are paid. So like and subscribe. Don't forget to give a thumbs up to the show. Pass around the clips. That helps us expand on our audience more than almost anything else. But there's a ton of, like, these are the first things that come up. This streamed an hour ago. It was an hour and 10 minutes. Connecting consciousness. By the way, that's the name of this nutcase's cult. Remember this guy?
And it's just taking him a little bit longer.
Yeah. Who? Trump? Let me guess. Let's just take a little sampling.
Show for Connecting Consciousness. Today is the 14th, and this show should go out live tomorrow, Sunday the 15th. Andy, who does all the web material.
His cat is asleep on the corner. I'm glad he's at least cleaned it off. The room's a wreck. Simon, he's got his jacket draped over his gamer chair.
Away at the moment, and it's just taking him a little bit longer. Last show we had the audio followed by the video, so please be patient and hopefully we'll get it all sorted. The white cat is in queue, and once again I have to say to you, I really didn't go around and position him like that. It's just the way he is. So thank you very much indeed for joining me. Going to start with the updates, but before we go with the update,
let's hear what the update is.
There was one comment that was written and I had to smile, and the comment said that the room behind me is always very cluttered.
Yeah, it's a fucking mess.
And a cluttered room is a cluttered mind.
Yes, this is true.
Absolutely right. I mean, I have so much going on in my mind, so many issues.
It's cluttered.
So many things. It really is quite.
You're a mental pack rat.
Full, but the room's not cluttered. It's just nicely organised. I know.
Nah, it's filth.
Where everything is.
Bullshit.
And if it were totally cluttered, there wouldn't even be a room for the cat.
What does that mean?
Right, off we go then. So first of all, I want to talk about United Kingdom or Great Britain. We've had the visit by the President of the United States, who met the British Prime Minister, the Queen, and in his spare time he managed to get a few rounds of golf in. Been quite a number of interesting high-profile demonstrations. Will have absolutely zero effect, but nevertheless I think they were quite fun. The meeting between himself and the Queen was important because it's always...
Wait, exclusive update today, news breaking May 19th, 2021. Trump met with the Queen recently and then went to play golf?
Seen as vital that the monarch of England or Great Britain meets whoever is the president. And that might be the only time they ever meet. Certainly won't be the only time that President Trump meets a British Prime Minister, but I think probably his visit with the Queen is probably it now.
This premiered 98 minutes ago.
So that's something quite interesting. I want to go to the Supreme Court.
By the way, he still believes that Trump is president.
Those of you who've been following this know that the Supreme High Court judge resigned, and presidents are allowed to nominate their own appointees. It's always been the way, although it does have to go through the House. It does have to be ratified. And in President Trump's case, he nominated a Brett Kavanaugh. And
when the fuck is this from?
Beginning of a process of this much vaunted list of sealed indictments being opened. In September, there may well be what I would call a drawing down of the truth in regard to a number of worldwide events, and the 9/11 situation might be one of them. What this means is that some approval has been granted.
Fuck off. Oh my God. Yawn, gibberish, crap, you what? This is premiering now.
Feeling it, and
this is newer. This is when the room is fucked up again.
Incredibly naive to think that she could hand cookies to people who disrespect her husband like nothing on earth. So she's going through a bit of a hard game, I think, and it's very difficult to put people through that. So what's going to happen? Well, I think that this situation can't go on for much longer.
No.
It's playing out to a point where all of the juice is squeezed out of the grape.
Yipes.
And there isn't much juice to get out left. And I think
probably not.
We are moving towards that. And we should see the financial change as quite closely linked to President coming back.
Yeah, Trump's coming back as soon as Bitcoin crashes or rises or gold or something.
We talk about the med beds. My understanding about the med beds is in the first phase rollout. They will be in Texas, of course.
Of course, med beds in Texas. These are anti-aging things that fight against the adrenochrome crowd.
The government's seat, and they'll be in Florida, but they will be run by the military.
Yeah, military med beds.
And the first phase of operation, they will be run by the military, and they will be predominantly for children who have been rescued from the tunnels, and there's going to be a lot of them coming up this year.
Okay, a lot of rescued children from the tunnels are going to be put in med beds in Florida, hopefully not too close to Matt Gaetz or any of his friends, and Texas.
This is the year when...
By the way, anybody listening to this, 145,000 subscribers, 600 people are watching this right now.
Large numbers of them, hopefully all of them are going to come up this year. And also for the first responders.
Why didn't they come up during the Trump years? Oh, because he was keeping him down there. I see, because he was friends with Epstein. Okay, I got you.
Not just the military, but the nurses who will be totally traumatized.
Okay, well, sure.
They have had to go in and rescue.
But the kids have survived and they're going into magic med beds. So why would they?
Because remember, the med beds don't just do physical repairing, they do psychological repairing.
Great. When can we get you an appointment?
It's a bit that's not fully understood.
No, I mean, obviously, I'd love to test one out.
3-phased array type devices.
3-phased array type devices. Okay, so it's like an MRI mixed with the tube that Luke Skywalker floated in.
And so you can't...
I'm very confused too, Kathy. This dude is fucking bananas.
Really go about healing a child or an adult if they've been terribly traumatized, and then expect them to have a normal life. You have to deal with that aspect first, and then go...
What, they got to go through years of surgery, or like psychological counseling, and then they can be put in the magic med bed that will heal their soul and their body? What?
Through what I would call more conventional healing processes. So
Rand Barton is another Q patriot. Yeah, this nuts make me really miss Art Bell. Seriously, Carl.
The war against those who control the tunnels is ongoing.
Sure, why wouldn't it be?
It doesn't require President Trump to be there, the military.
No, obviously not. The military has won lots of battles without him ever being anywhere. And as a matter of fact, it was probably best that he didn't join and he used bone spurs to avoid service.
We are very active.
You thought Vietnam was bad. Imagine Vietnam plus Trump.
I've had, if I said I've had a briefing, that sounds very grand.
Yes, it does. I know you haven't. So, but use whatever colloquial bullshit you want.
And I know a lot of you will be very cross that I use that sort of word.
Uh-oh, somebody got very cross. You could hear it.
But I have had somebody give me a breakdown of a particular situation and what was encountered. And it were not just human type people. They were non-humans, and that's exactly...
Oh, okay. So we're dealing with non-humans. So if I'm a Democrat, let's just say, and I work in Hollywood, and I'm all the things that you hate and is evil and wrong in the world, and I don't eat babies, and I don't take adrenochrome to stay young, even though it's spooky how good I look at my age compared to some other people that you're insisting take this shit who look awful, largely because they smoke and they hide it from the public. That I'm really not the villain you're talking about, because there's actual alien monster demon baby eating human milkshake eater crazy. Who? Who?
Exactly what we would expect in a number of these
Thanks, Leon.
Underground facilities. And
well, they're not going to just be walking around in malls.
This is the year when large numbers of children will be liberated. And, you know, what needs to happen is we need to get this system over quickly. We need to get Biden out. We need to get Trump in. We need to get the quantum financial system in. And then when these kids come up, they'll come up into a world that's more geared towards helping them.
Yeah, it's better. You know what? Technically speaking, you're right. Let's put a pause on this. Sure, children are being eaten and sexually assaulted. And we could go straight in there, armed to the teeth, and rescue them. But honestly, let's wait. Because if they came out while Biden was president and Trump wasn't, and there wasn't a better monetary system, is their life really that much improved? I mean, sure, they're not underground being sexually assaulted and having their blood consumed and having their adrenaline drained out of them while they're being tortured to make them more afraid, or whatever the fucking story is. Think about this. This dickhead is arguing that they're kind of better off. We could, I mean, the white hats, the good guys, could rescue them, but it's better if they wait until there's a better monetary system.
You know, it's beholden on all of us to strive for the best that we can now.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of perfectionism. I mean, you don't want the great to be, you know, the perfect to be the enemy of the good. If there was a better example of this bullshit, what's the name of this nutty guy? His name is Simon Parks. He's been around for a long time. He's one of the primary feeders of the Q mythology. His show got bounced, and then these assholes have come back. And of course, he just lost people on that part. Apparently, he just, you know, it's slipping. Although he might be over now. So that's why it's draping off, and I'm behind.
So that's it, really. So
yeah. It's Simon Parks, but with an E, Parkes.
I haven't been with you recently. It's
well, yeah. I mean, you've been obviously cleaning.
Not because I've been hiding.
No. I mean, there's nowhere to hide in there. I mean, you could have reached for a book and been trapped under some shit.
We have been incredibly busy. We have 50,000 membership. And
this dude has a cult. Half of them are in the United States.
Every Saturday, I do 2 meetings with 4 or 5 states at a time. And when
they're fucking lunatics. There's dozens of these assholes in every state.
Done that, I'm going to go to all the other coordinators in
his name is National.
Europe and the United Kingdom and meet with them because I want to try and get people ready for what's coming.
Yeah, get them ready. Don't save kids. Just wait.
We need to be as resilient and as strong because there will be difficulties when we make this change. We all know that. But I think we need to be psychologically.
I mean, you're prepared for all difficulties. You're used to living in difficult circumstances.
Prepared for what is coming. There are many people in our industry who are...
Industry? What's your fucking industry?
Are pretty clued up, but even they will be shocked at what's coming. Oh yes, and by the way, I do expect disclosure as well. And you may have seen when I put it on the website that we had some very useful disclosure. And I hope you had a read of that. It's coming. You know, the government in America are actually admitting for the first time that they have inspected unidentified flying objects, alien vehicles.
Yeah, they're not admitting that. They're showing the Navy footage.
And those of you who've done your research, now we say it differently, it's nitinol and nitinol, American and British sayings.
But but it's the same thing.
We'd call it memory metal.
Memory metal.
And of course, this was a back-engineered metal from the material they got at Roswell.
Reverse engineered. You mean the tinfoil that they were showing when they did the... Okay.
On the aliens.
This dude is fucking bananas.
Spacecraft. It was an Orion grey spacecraft. It was not a big ship. It was one that operates between a planet with atmosphere and a mothership. And we, on an aeroplane,
So it was a shuttle.
Most airplanes, you have flaps and fins that
Sure.
move, don't you? Well, of course they don't.
Yeah, of course.
They're able to send an electric charge along the edge of their spacecraft, and then it will actually morph and change. But you have to have a metal that will respond to electrics like that.
Well, yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
Nitinol.
I'd say nitinol if you're British. Nitinol. Charlie, we're out of nitinol.
Which is a primitive back engineering, responds to heat, hot water, cold water, but you can create heat.
Yeah, you've got a bunch of it lying about, don't you, Simon?
Electrically.
Nitinol. Okay, horseshit, crazy. I mean, it's like, you mix it with like, where does it go? Restored Republic. This RV is moving slower than a snail and Big CMKX, Restored Republic.
Thank you for your support. The content we do is quite calm. Find our channel name.
Yeah, whatever.
Then select.
Member. This RV is adjudicated funds I have seen are CMKX. MZ. I am hearing from my DC Beltway guys to expect some disclosure today and then deliveries will start up again. Member. The Dragons want perp walks before RV according to Mr. C.
So this is how they're getting around the YouTube stuff, is that they take these like printed text messages back and forth, and then they like have these automatic services.
Member. Mark 911 reports are to be released today and who was behind it. Member. I heard something big was going to happen today as well. MZ. I hear they have tested the system.
I hear this and I hear like that. I mean, it's. Oh, and this is the Michael Jacko dude we were looking at yesterday.
Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jacko
Hi.
with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. And I'm joined by
Unleashing Intuition Secrets.
Ileana. So we're going to talk about this secret space program again. And
cool.
We've had some great discussions already. And
I feel like I should do like, Wacko Wednesdays or something.
Ileana, you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
Like, tomorrow gather some of these folks.
Before we get started?
Sure. So I am a
Woman without any possessions in a room with 2 IKEA cabinets.
psychic and an intuitive, as
I knew that. I knew she was going to say
well
that.
as an energy healer. So I've done.
So you heal energy? So like if like, let's say my iPad battery dies and to crack it open and actually break the seal and fix it would void the warranty, you could heal the battery?
A lot of work with past life regression as well. And
Do you, okay, all right, sure. Now, can you only get people to be children? In their past
hypnosis to find out about my own SSP memories. That's how I was able to get that information for myself from self-hypnosis. And
I want to know how you were able to get rid of all your possessions and when you're going to teach Michael Jacko to get rid of all of his stuff.
basically to find out that I had been serving in planetary corporations on the various Mars bases and cybernetics labs
Sure.
with a 60 and back secret space program service.
Yeah, sounds reasonable. Yeah. Here, this is and one last one. Here's Patriot Street Fighter. This guy calls him. His name is Scott McKay. He plays this big opening like the Great Awakening. This time you lose.
Rising his powers in such form, produce them under.
We've awakened and we are everywhere. And he's with. I don't know why the plant gets more room than you do, Scott. What's happening? You goofball. And Mr. Constitution doesn't have still the Zoom logo. You're not paying for the upgrade. You're not gonna take the Zoom logo off. You're not gonna sign up for StreamYard, guys.
You were having a little bite to eat there, friend. I was putting some of mine down, Mr. Gibbs, before you.
How do you trust food that's purchased in the current system? Don't you know that that's how they would get you? The CIA must be dusting your food with some sort of, genetically altering. How are they not turning you into demons?
Came on. I'm thinking I could get some food in me before this whole thing starts.
Yeah, you want to do that. You don't want to go on this. You don't want to be this crazy on a Empty stomach.
So we've survived for a little while here, folks. We've been on this channel and
making money, dragging this out with 12,000 views. It was on 88 minutes ago. 72,000 subscribers. This is this dude's industry. This is not a hobby. And he'll go, well, we're not monetized. They can still get super chats. So it's garbage.
I know I shouldn't bring it up. They say there's going to be jinxed. I'm not feeling it. I don't think
I'm jinxing you with a Q.
Scumbags are coming at us.
Backwards.
If I keep all these videos up here, I think they're going to come after us. But so far, I am.
So far, you're fantasizing about being black labeled or canceled.
Getting some of these videos down, but just know that if it does happen, you know where to come back home. You know that you can find us at. There's no link to this thing. I hope it's actually putting a link in. There we go. You can always come to scottmckay.us. You will always find us there. If we have to come to go to another link, another YouTube channel, which we do have. We do have the 12 up. Patriot Street Fighter 12 is up. So
this is, by the way, this is Patriot Street Fighter 11. 72,000. They get kicked off, and this is the 11th time he's created a new channel. That's a violation of YouTube's terms of service. So 11 times, 10 times technically, this asshole has gotten kicked off of YouTube for calling for armed insurrection and promoting the January 6th stuff like it needed to happen and it didn't go far enough. And he's got another channel.
So I always recommend you.
So all that shit you're hearing about, conservatives are being attacked and no, they get back on
the description, which I will get in here, and find 12 Patriot Street Fighter 12 and go ahead and subscribe to that as a backup.
And then when they move to 12, they'll have Patriot Street Fighter 13, and then they'll tell enough people in that one that people just hopscotch.
What other announcements? We're going to be at Penn State, up in State College, PA. This weekend, Saturday, it's going to be a 1 to 5 p.m. event. We're going to open up the doors at noon because I'm going to have an hour before the event with the VIP folks. Interestingly enough, I think we have 250 tickets sold. More coming in this week. People are asking if they can buy at the door. Not supposed to be, but we'll figure out what we can do for you. That's necessary. But 1/3.
Yeah. 250 people and VIP tickets, and then people showing up in person and they're using the Penn State campus.
1/3 of the attendees are coming in VIP, which is pretty remarkable. Really remarkable. I thought, wow. I had to reach out to the.
What's the price on your VIP, bruh? Because when I do a regular stand-up gig, my meet and greets are free.
And you talk to my friend John Stroh up there, Lance. We're going to have to change a room for the VIP folks.
All right, I don't care.
For you.
I want to hear what this asshole's. Let's jump in the middle of whatever they're talking about.
But then it says everything else too. So any power that's given the federal government, be it foregoing or the federal government can do things that are necessary and proper to carry those things out. All right, Article 1, Section 9. You ready to talk about immigration and the Atlantic slave trade?
Sure, why not?
Do it.
You know, it's funny. One of my favorite quotes, two of my favorite quotes, is by a guy named Frederick Douglass. Do you know who Frederick Douglass is, Scott?
Sure do.
Escaped slave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, escaped slave, taught himself how to read. Guy was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Where are you going with this?
Two of my favorite quotes. First one, I didn't like the Constitution until I read it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to love that one on its face. But the other one is very interesting. Frederick Douglass. And I'm
Oh, God. This guy's choppiness drive me fucking crazy.
Oh, you bought it legally. It's no longer legal. No, when you bought it, it was legal to own. They can't do retroactive law. So all of these magazine laws and all this other stuff, completely unconstitutional because of ex post facto, aside from the fact that they violate the Second Amendment. But I'm surprised.
Talking about magazine capacity, and he's full of shit. You can absolutely outlaw stuff.
That none of the judges or
because that's how all drug laws are done. Until they know a drug is a narcotic, they're not classified. So if you bought a shit ton of meth before they classified it as a Schedule I drug, you can't just sell what you have freely. Well, this wasn't illegal until you guys found out about it.
The lawyers have been using the ex post facto law angle. Laws are not supposed to be retroactive. You can't say, oh, what you did was legal, but now it's not. So we're going to go back and arrest you because it was illegal.
No, but you can say items are no longer legal to possess. You can't remove time from someone's life. You're not going to get arrested. They're just going to take it away. That's my point. You can't have illegal contraband, even if we didn't know it was contraband until the law was passed.
No, it was legal when you did it. Can't do that. No retroactive law.
This is just choppy and annoying. I like all these guys are Qs. Hold on one second. Yeah. This is him with
your fans are
let's see. Simon, is he,
you know when somebody you can learn their character is
Flex the Truth podcast.
When you're in the trenches.
People finally inevitably rise up and beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. Like I was just clicking around.
Meaning we're taking the fight into the street. We're not going to go out there and we're not BLM or Antifa where we destroy shit and attack people. Right. We're bringing the power of our numbers to show the scumbag class that we massively outnumber them. And quite simply, if there's a decision to be made to do what would the inevitable, kinetic, because they will not stand down and abide.
Kinetic means force
by the Constitution and take the noose off our necks. Guess what happens next, right? Same thing that happens to every tyrant or dictatorial scumbag. We, the people, finally inevitably rise up and beat the shit out of them.
Right. So he's saying basically, if the left doesn't just magically stand down from a position they don't actually have. I mean, this is literally the whole thing. Like, drop the knife, drop the gun. I don't. My hands are empty. This is like, no. You've got a gun on you. I know it's there. Bang. Like this is how this dude lives.
We run him out of office. In some countries, they hang him, they shoot him, they do whatever, depending on the level of oppression. We just want to make him go away and put him in a cell somewhere, and bring him to justice for all the horrible shit they've done to people in this country, our veterans, on down, elderly, everything that they do.
What do they do? Who are we talking about?
So we're all that. We all have that DNA. I think what we're doing here, Chris, is just striking people in the heart of their pride to realize, look, it's like Reagan. Hey, we have every right to dream heroic dreams. After all, we're Americans.
Right.
We are Americans.
Yeah, but you're not talking about being heroic. You are the villain in this circumstance. You are talking about caging and killing your fellow Americans because of a fantasy you have in your head about what they do in their spare time. Anytime you can't see them, you think they're eating babies.
And see how many people around the world would literally give life or limb to be able to say, I am an American. Can you imagine that?
Yes, I can imagine it. I imagine it every time you assholes complain about the border being open.
We can't because we were born into it. We don't get it. And all these people that fight dream of coming here.
How's anyone reporting this Patriot Street Fighter channel on YouTube? I reported Rudy G has 2 new videos now. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that like they do all the time and then these guys just bounce to the next one. I mean, this is, hold on. Hey, this is where we go to, where is it? Promotes terrorism, because that's what it's at. Next. Port. Close. I mean, that's what they're asking for. And this dude's like, yeah, fucking yeah. Like, at some point, we're just going to have to rise up and just kill everybody. That's what he's talking about. It's friggin' bananas. Charlie Ward, Mel K, same thing.
Sea of trillions of viruses. Why not just treat the person that's afflicted, give them the necessary medications? Why are we doing this? Because it's all about this. But we've been brainwashed to think it.
Hydroxychloroquine.
He's drinking hydroxychloroquine.
It costs pennies.
I know.
If that, it costs nothing.
See what I mean? It's like they never left. It's the whole fucking, like, and this is just stuff that shows up in my feed, just rando. This isn't like me hunting for it. This is what happens when I go to YouTube Premium and the first thing that comes up, amongst other stuff. And this is what the algorithm suggests to me. Christ almighty. Yeah, he's a jar of hydroxychloroquine, which is bullshit. He's drinking gin. But yeah, so I just wanted to let you guys know that. I know I went long today, but I wanted to show you it hasn't changed. YouTube, these guys are all over it. Like this Sultana Cooking House channel has as many, I have 504 people watching right now just on YouTube, right? And I'm on other channels, so we've got over 1,000 people in the chat at any given time. But they've got 668 just on this site. And there's 5 other ones that are going live at any given time, just randomly throughout the day. And then you got this asshole showing up.
And Shorty called me out because he...
Same time I am. You bastard. I set him up with all this gear. And then he counter-programs me. The nerve. All right, I'm going to sign off. By the way, you guys can run over to Stuttering John's podcast right now. He's live as you're going. So I'll just let you guys go. Fine, just fine. Everybody go hang out with him. Go ahead. See if I care, man. I think Hal and Hassan should do a show together. No. Hassan's a disgusting human being. I have no interest. Thank you. The TYT crowd and the Jimmy Dores of the world are massively part of the problem. No. I'm not, I'm not sharing rando. I'm not sharing a podcast on something with a dude who thinks that American citizens of all religions, all backgrounds and stuff deserve to be strafe bombed. It's not happening. Had 9/11 coming? Forget it. No, not. Let's see. There he is. So we're gonna raid Stuttering John over on Twitch right now. I'll end the show that way. So I'll let you guys go. I'll put you guys right after we go off this. Those that are on Twitch, twitch.tv/HalSparks. Don't forget Amazon Prime. Doesn't cost you a dime. Subscribe. I'll let you guys go. I think we're going to do Wacko Wednesday tomorrow because I'm going to show you some of the crazy shit I have been seeing lately on YouTube. It's ridiculous. And it's worse than the stuff we were even just looking at. So I will keep you posted. And I'm going to give you guys, we're going to just let Stuttering John know we raided you because I don't think he knows what a raid is. So I'll let you guys go and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bless you. Thank you guys for all the support and love. Thank you for the super chats today and all that kind of stuff. And I will see you guys tomorrow at the regular time. Thanks so much. And we'll use the fun ending today. By the way, thanks for helping us clear the 700 mark in subscribers on Twitch. All right, rating. Here we go. Oh, yeah.
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
Captain's log.
They don't like the gas. They don't like the gas. They don't like the gas. They don't like the gas.
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
Fighting for Iowa values. Fighting for Iowa values. fighting for our values. They don't like the gas.
Isn't it wonderful to allow protesting?
Groovy. Groovy. Groovy.
I'm rich and I'm dead sexy.
Did have shade. Did have shade.
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said,
Leon's getting larger.
I should just sit there and bleed a while before you taste some real pain.
It's not like that.